Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 5, or at least the comment spotlight from before. It's Saturday and today is Friendsgiving. The last couple of days have been Thanksgiving weekend and I've basically taken them off because it's been a hectic mess and it's been wonderful. I've been co-opted and voluntold to do a bunch of work, and I've done a bunch of interesting work on my own. Just yesterday, I fully fixed our kitchen sink, which is very nice, and has garnered me some interesting respect in the household for being capable of fixing a sink that's been a problem for a while. It's like, yeah, maybe I should just do some of the things that I know how to do and make sure that I'm doing them properly. But that's sort of neither here nor there. It's been a chaotic, hectic couple of days and weeks and months and stuff, and the world is all chaos and hecticness, and they're all sort of excuses when you boil it down. Regardless, I haven't recorded yet, and today is Friendsgiving, and we are going to be having dozens of people over for a massive Thanksgiving feast that is open to all sorts of folks. Generally is intended for a bunch of the people who don't have families to be with on Thanksgiving. And having been a person who has been in that spot for a while, I think that it's an important tradition that we do in this group of friends that I've found, is to get together and really, truly, effectively attempt to celebrate this time of companionship and family on those bases. And fuck all the bullshit around, I get it, Thanksgiving's not a great holiday, and there are a bunch of flaws with the whole situation, but we make the most of it, and I'm looking forward to it immensely. So I don't have all the time in the world today, but I have enough time to get going, and I might have enough time to do more than get going if I manage to get through this comment spotlight relatively effectively. However, given the nature of the comment spotlight last week on Cyberpunk episode 4, and the nature of some of the comments, it is in no way evident that I will be able to get through this comment spotlight in any way, anything like rapidity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my clock, and I'm going to set a 30-minute timer. And I'm in no way beholden to this 30-minute timer. This is really just a mode for me to know and keep track of how long it's taking me to do the thing. Because I was talking about this in the brew earlier today. By the way, every day, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the second channel, which is linked as an associated channel as T Talks Too Much, I will be doing the Daily Brew. And the Daily Brew is when I wake up at 10 a.m. PST, I have all my shit together, and I brew tea, and I talk. And I stream with people, and we've been doing a poll every day. Today's poll was, what's a skill that you wish you could acquire? And there were a bunch of interesting answers, from public speaking to the ability to learn new languages, to avoiding procrastination, to drawing to music, to initiating conversations, to enjoying doing chores. And we talked through a bunch of those, and some of them I have some answers for because I've figured out some of them, and some of them I don't have answers for at all. But I'm trying to figure out a way to help people and really help them. And so one of the things that's over there that's totally free that you can go check out is The Basics, which is a Google Doc at this point. It's a crowdsourced list of, and constantly evolving list that you can go and comment on and help change and help fix, of the things that everybody needs to know how to do. And the things that are on that list right now are like sleep, what you need to be eating, and a couple of simple tools for managing your dietary needs, that you need to be exercising, and how to go about doing so in a way that's not only effective but like doable and won't just destroy you, except we will destroy you, but in a way that makes you build yourself back up again. It's that kind of thing over in The Basics, and it's totally free. Just go check out that channel, and if you'd like to subscribe to it and head over there, that would be cool. Shit, I forget my line of thought. Oh well, I fully don't remember where I was going. If in editing I see this, I'll have editing T put a spot there. But I'm going to start a 30-minute timer, and we're going to use that to go ahead and dive into the comment spotlight on last week's episode 4 of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Bam. So let's do a quick recap first, which is that Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 4 is the episode where our boy and our girl get together, and they finally overcome some of the boundaries between them. And it all happens as a result and a catalyst of a catastrophic event, which is the Cyberpsycho incident. And David's choices. David chooses to move, chooses to protect, and chooses to pull the trigger. And in every way, he overcomes himself in order to do so. And he acts in movement and in resonance toward Lucy as he does so, and demonstrates through his actions and behaviors, willingness to speak to her, and eventually his balls in just saying, hey, can we talk, at the end, because that's the hardest part of all of it. is to reach out and ask for a talk. And they end up on a rooftop together watching a rocket go toward the moon, expressing the impossibility and the futility of dreams, and a kiss, a binding together of two humans. And as they kiss, they're not on Earth anymore. They're already on the moon, because they figured out the magic, which is that the choice to move toward your goal is the thing that gets you there already. You end up in paradise as long as you're moving toward something that's akin to paradise, even if you don't know what it is. And that's true. It's the act of movement. It's the act of commitment to something that makes you fulfilled. And I think that's true. Fundamentally, metaphysically true. It's what the Buddhists really believe. Suffering is inevitable if you choose the Eightfold Path, or a path even. Suffering becomes ameliorated and you become capable. It's also what the neuroscientists believe. You're in pain. If you choose the pain, the systems that you use to evaluate the pain become different systems, and they become rewarding. Those pain systems start to actually activate your reward circuits and your dopamine circuits when you choose the suffering to engage in it, when you move toward it intentionally. They took a bunch of people and they forced them to do the thing, and then some of them, they had them actively choose to do the thing, and the people who actively chose to do the thing did better at the thing, and were overall happier, and experienced less pain while doing the thing. So choose to do the thing. And that's what the two of these characters do. They say, well, there's pain in being alone, and there's pain in being together. We choose to be together, and in the choice, the pain goes away, and they're on the moon already. Brilliant. Brilliantly written, brilliantly put together, and spectacularly executed with the color mixing and the visualization of the two kissing and the rocket going off and the flip-flop to the moon. It's just, the music swells and the... Absolutely... I just had chills go up and down my spine and into my gut. Like a very genuine physiological response to an emotional experience. That I'm not even having the emotional experience, I'm just looking back at it. I'm just evaluating it in the past. How interesting is that? So that was our episode last time. We lost a character, we gained a lot of knowledge, and we moved into a new way of being. Pretty fucking cool. Let's head over to the comments. Because something else really powerful and interesting happened last week, which is that I decided to make a change. A real change. To everything about my Patreon. And so I'm going to mention this in every video, because if I don't mention it, then nobody's going to know. All of my content is free now. There is no early access. There is no paywall. It's all free forever. At least for a month, or maybe 2. If everything goes to complete shit, I have to be able to survive, and so I might allow a little bit more corruption into my existence in order to achieve survival, and that might be the thing to do. But until I'm really struggling, and I mean really struggling, I'm going to make everything that I make totally free. And then I'm going to ask you, beseech you, request of you, humbly, if you got anything out of it, please express as much with your finances, with your money. Because, well, I'll bring this up. You know what Netflix is doing now? So Netflix expanded beyond itself. Netflix had a pretty good model, their subscription model, where you pay a certain monthly fee and you get access to all their content. And it's not good enough because they spent too much money buying stuff, as far as I could tell, buying products and buying properties. So Netflix is transitioning to an ad-supported economy now. It'll be $6.99 to get one TV with ads. It'll be something like $9.99 to get multiple TVs with ads, and it's something like $16.99 to get multiple TVs with no ads. So, a big content producer is about to go fully ad-funded and more expensive at the same time. And I'm going to do the opposite. Not only will I not ever be ad-funded, not only will I never seek sponsorships and never sell you anything that I don't, I'm never going to sell you anything. I might tell you about things that I really like, that I wholeheartedly think that you should invest yourself in. For example, you should buy this book. You should buy this one right here, Atomic Habits by James Clear. You should go and buy it. That's a thing. I got no reason to tell you about that. I went and I purchased this book. I didn't know that it would be good. I dreaded looking at it for weeks because it was sitting there and was like, fuck, as soon as I read this book, it's going to change my life. And then I read the book and it changed my life. So I'll recommend it to you because it's worthwhile. Or I might tell you that having some electrolytes in the morning really is going to change your behavior and your mood and your overall well-being. And I'll tell you about that. But I'm not going to sell you a fucking electrolyte supplement because there's already one better than I could make out there. And until I find something where there's really a gap and nobody's making it, I'm not going to sell you shit. All I'm going to sell you is freedom and choice and the ability to actively manifest your capacity for changing the world into the world by putting money into the products that you think are worthwhile, simply and solely because you think that they're worthwhile. And so that's what I ask you to do for my content. If my content is good, pay me. If my content is bad, stop paying me. And if my content is bad and you want to stop paying me, please drop a comment somewhere telling me why, so that I can consider it and I may alter my course. I may not, but I may. I've gotten a few comments like that have been really helpful to me. Some criticisms that have been extraordinarily excruciating, very painful to read, and very, very helpful. Anyway, that's what I'm doing now. Everything is free. At the moment, the only thing that you really get for subscribing to my Patreon is the ability to speak in my Discord, which is to say you can ping me and at me and talk directly to me, and I will read it. I might not respond to it, but I will read it. And you can speak to other people in my community. Whether that's good or bad for you, I don't know. But more communication seems to be good. And you can vote in polls. So that gives you a voice and a voice. So go buy a voice, and you can be a voice in my community and a voice toward me. And that might be worth it. If you have other options or ideas for things that would be worthwhile paying for that don't involve withholding content from you, even for a period of time, for a week or whatever, I'm all ears. And I'd love to find something that's really worthwhile on that $5 slot. One idea that I had was, there are a lot of shows that I don't put on polls because I don't want to watch them. And it's possible we could do a thing for one of the slots where it's like you get to force a show to be on the poll. On one poll every 6 months or something, You get to force a show to be on the poll. It doesn't mean that you get to force the show to be watched, but if I don't want to watch, say, Arcane, because I don't, or I don't want to watch, and I've explained before why I don't want to watch it. I'm a League of Legends addict, and I don't want it to trigger my League of Legends addiction. There you go. Or I don't want to watch Made in Abyss because it's been spoiled for me. Or I don't really want to watch fucking girl with dude, red-haired girl, The Ancient Magus Bride. I don't really want to watch that because I've seen a few episodes of it. And there are a number of other shows that I'm like, I just don't care. Well, a bunch of other people care, or like ReZero, where I'm like, I just don't care. And a lot of people care. Maybe that would be the sort of thing worth putting on a, I don't know. Let me know. Give me inspiration. Give me options. And I'm going to move along from this because I don't want to spend this whole episode shilling again. But this is my shill. Here's my free content. Takes me hours and hours and hours and hours to make it, and hours and hours more to think about it, and to read through all of your comments and to respond to a lot of them, and to deal with all the people in my Discord who are clamoring either for more content or less, or changes or differences. Whoop whoop. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy. And so if you appreciate it, please appreciate it. Please show your gratitude in the only way that really matters, which is by buying me food. Because that's what you're doing when you're paying for the Patreon. You're buying me food, and you're putting money into my pocket that I can turn into more books that will change my life and change the way that I manifest content, that I will put into and have put into art supplies and paper and art and nutrition supplies and nutrients and stuff to become better, and computer stuff like the WD, the 14 terabyte drive that I bought a few weeks ago that has allowed me to expand my storage space immensely, and moving toward greater processing power, which I am moving toward, or things like this microphone, which is one of the biggest investments that I've made in years. It's a huge investment, and it's paid off in droves, in dividends immediately, because the quality of my audio has gone up. That kind of thing is what you're paying for. And I'm not perfect. I end up being flippant with money sometimes, and I'm sorry. I'm failing and I'm flawed, but for the most part, I'm dedicated toward this goal, And so the money that you put into this channel goes directly to this channel, because this channel is me in my life. And the better that it can get, the better that I get, and the better that I can help you get, maybe, at least I can try. And if I'm starving, I can't try. So help me not starve. And prove that this can work. Because a lot of people don't believe that this can work. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people who are commenting like, man, this is a really scary idea. You shouldn't do this. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people going, well, shit. I didn't know if I wanted to support you, and now I do. So it's a mixed bag, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think I'm going to link much more closely to the people who really care about this content. And they're the ones that I want to reach most. The ones who really need it, as far as I can tell. And maybe I'm fucking wrong, and maybe this is all stupid as hell. But it seems like the right thing to do, and so I'm going to do it. And if you feel like it's right at all, please support it. And support me. And help me not starve. So that I can keep doing this completely for free. And prove that it can work. Set a precedent, right? Set a precedent that a creator can really completely cut off all of the exploitative nature of their art and just make the art for free and ask people to pay for it, and that it'll work. Because that's insane. Nobody would believe that could work, and I think it can. So help make it work, please. Thank you. Alex EJ24, some kiki wisdom for this time around. When you wish for something, you don't put it into words. Why? Because all words are all lies. The moment you speak of it, it becomes dramatized and diverges from your feelings. So if you wish for something to be as it is, that's all you can do. I don't have much to add to that one because it's pretty perfect. Words are all lies. They're all identities. They're all genres or classifications or stabs at the thing. They're not the thing itself. They're not the dream itself. Once you've manifested it into words, you don't put it into words. You have to hold that wish deep and close. Thanks, Kaiki. Thanks, Monogatari. Thanks, Nisioise. Some people have mentioned, specifically Silver Bard, mentioned some cameos. The holographic masks guys are the scavs who still steal implants. The other gang that kidnaps Becca are Maelstrom. They're obsessed with implanting as much tech as they can, so insanity. And the woman that they see in the club is Rogue, and she's also a fixer, like our boy with the multiple eyes. And there you go. That's some of the people that we met. I'm going to read the comment from Sidolny K as well. You said you read every single comment. Hi, I do. And I still do. Even if I don't read them out loud, I read them all. So I hope this one, I go through my phone and I check to see, because there's a little dot next to them that shows that they haven't been read. And I go through and I read every single one. And you'll see me, when those comments are coming in, you'll see me. You'll see likes go up on some of the comments, and you'll see little hearts pop up on them. And that's because I'm reading all the fucking comments. All of them. And all the responses to all of them. All of them. You said you read every single comment, so I hope this one will also reach you. Well, it has. I found your channel about a year ago with Monogatari, you and many other people, and something about you piqued my interest. Nice. This man with a strong grasp of philosophy, I wouldn't say that I have a strong grasp, I have some. That seems Jungian, who decided to do anime reactions on YouTube, who carefully analyzes the media he watches and tries to understand them. Your channel is so peculiar and niche, but I felt like I just met my soulmate. I appreciate that. A true gem of a person with the same interests as me and the same symbolic view of the world. Everyone needs to have some layer of a symbolic view of the world, to view the world as an arena for action. But thank you for seeing it. And when you said about your past life, it struck me. I wanted to cry. In today's video, you just revealed part of your soul that just touched me, man. You're a special kind of guy, and the value you created just by following your dream and telling people about it, I will put it that way. You sparked this want for adventure for me, this feeling of doing what's right because it is right. You created a lifetime of value for me. I will try to hone my skills as an artist and as a person thanks to you, and will continue watching your videos. Keep it up, my man. You're a gem. Also, sorry for my English. It's not my first language. Keep it up, man. You're a gem. So, keep trying with English. It's worth it. Just by following your dream and telling people about it. And that's it, isn't it? Follow the dream, tell people. It's exactly it. From the beginning, what have I been creating? On my Patreon, if you go and you look, I haven't changed this. It's exactly the same as it was when I started the channel. Exactly the same. On my Patreon, when you go and look, it doesn't say Teeaboo is creating anime reactions. It doesn't say Teeaboo is creating analysis videos. It doesn't say Teeaboo is doing art criticism. It says Teeaboo is creating memes and dreams. And that's what I've been creating. And I haven't been doing enough of the memes, actually. I haven't. But memes are spreadable ideas. And funny ones. And I like the funny ones. And I haven't been doing that enough. I've been a little bit too serious. And I admit that. And I agree. I've been a little bit too serious. Partly because I've been focused on some serious things. I found my enemy. My real enemy. Contempt for being. It's my real enemy. And I really want to fight it. I've been pretty serious about that. And so I've been forgetting to laugh a little bit. And I need to laugh more. I need to have more fun more. But memes and dreams. Spreadable pieces of easily digestible information. And dreams. Great goals. And why would I phrase it? I'm creating memes and dreams. It's not just because it rhymes. But rhyming is a part of it. It's because I'm not just creating my dreams. I want to create dreams in you. I want to create dreams in you. I'm not going to try to convince you of anything of a way of being except this. You are the only thing holding yourself back from the dreams that you have hidden away from yourself. Because you have them. Everyone has them or has had them. And it feels like for so many of us, we take those dreams and we put them away because we think we have to survive in the world. And what you're doing when you're just surviving is you're not living. And you're not following those dreams. And it's worth following the dreams because mood follows behavior. This is a crucial element of neuropsychology and neurobiology that I've learned just recently. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Willpower ain't shit. It's bullshit. It doesn't work. Your mood follows your behavior. Beginning to do the thing is what allows you to want to do the thing. Sitting there and trying to calm yourself into a state of doing the thing doesn't work. Getting yourself absolutely stressed the fuck out and then jumping into the deep end works. You have to do it. You have to seek the dreams. So what is memes and dreams? Well, it's I want to share in the most concise way that I can, which I'm not very good at, and I'm working on it. It's part of this process. I want to share bits of information that lead people to a path, whatever it is for them, where they can pursue whatever dream is their real wholeheartedly held dream. Their real dream. What they really want. What would really fulfill them. And I'll tell you, because it seems to be true for everyone, that as far as I can tell, every person that I've talked to that I've gotten onto this wavelength a little bit and gotten down to nitty-gritty with them and they've been able to be honest with me, every single one of them has some form of art in their heart and in their soul, and it's bursting forth. And sometimes it's bursting forth against the barrier of incompetence. Like, but I don't know how to draw. I wish I've got these images in my mind that I'd love to be able to express to the world, but I don't know how to draw. So there's friction there. Very well. You just figured out what you're supposed to be doing with your life, which is figuring out a way to express your soul and share it with the world and see what happens. Because it might be resonant. There might be people who look at it and go, whoa, that's me. Just how you feel when you watch a really excellent piece of anime and you go, whoa, that's me. When you watch David struggling, walking through an empty city, feeling down and morose and ignored by everyone and everything and structured into just systems that don't feel like companionship. A lot of people watch that and they go, whoa, that's my life, man. Well, if you share your art, you can get that feeling into other people. And your life, your story can matter. Because your story matters. Okay. Sorry to get serious here, but I appreciate your comment. I'm just going to call you Z. It's hard for me to take compliments like this, but it's a lot easier when they're in balance with all the vitriol that I've gotten. It's much easier when you got both. Is like, oh man, a compliment feels pretty good when a bunch of people are insulting you. But that's the thing, there are a whole lot more compliments than there are insults. And it's easy to get bogged down by the negative because, I've said this before, but humans, when we look at a blank piece of paper with one dot of spilled ink on it, we hone in and we focus on the dirty spilled ink, even though that's just one fraction of the whole perfectly shiny piece of paper. And so when comments come in and they criticize, it's easy for me to get focused and hone in on them. It's not the way to be. So thank you for the positivity, Z. I hope to live up to it. I hope to live up to it. That's my striving. Ren. Despite believing I'm aromantic, which you may be, but we'll get into it. This episode demolished my soul and built it back together again. The focus on David and Lucy's relationship shoved the cruel reality of my loneliness in front of my eyes. I feel so dumb, mostly awestruck after witnessing the melding of David and Lucy form into a genuine connection, since I often shove human interaction away, but I desperately need it. I can't bear to look at my parents. I feel like I've failed them. I can't bear to seek love. I feel like I ruined their lives with my existence. I'm 17 and I've already given up on the will to apply myself. Chills. Sorry, I have to take a moment. That ain't it. That's not right. And I'm not trying to criticize you, Ren. Not specifically. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we live in a world where you are not alone in your loneliness, where millions of 16 through 25-year-olds maybe feel exactly the same way. Given up. Already failed. And that's not right. Something's missing, isn't it? Something's missing. And I made this statement and I cut the clip of it and I put it up. The statement about religiously worshipping shonen protagonists, which isn't really what I meant. What I meant was holding them on high as icons, as people to try to emulate to some extent, as people to learn from, as ideas, as ideals even. There's something missing in our lives and in our education, and I think it's myth and narrative. And I think anime has the answer. Film and media too. But something about animation just clicks, man. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But something about not just animation, but the Japanese studio system, and specifically Trigger, and a couple of other studios and a couple of other works, it just clicks. And it fixes this problem that you have, that giving up on the will. Because if you're dancing like Goku, or you're dancing like Naruto, and when I say dance, I don't mean dancing, I mean embodying. I mean acting out the dance, the structured set of movements that fit you to an organized chaos that is society. That's the dance. We're all dancing. And some people are freaking the fuck out and they're not dancing with everybody else. And some people are sitting silently, you know, Shinji in the chair sitting there being all sad. Some people are doing that while the world dances around them. Come join the dance. You can dance your own dance, but you got to learn the fundamental steps. And the fundamental steps are forward, always forward. And it might be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's always forward. You got to learn the fundamental dance. And people aren't dancing. But if you're dancing like Goku, or you're dancing like Naruto, or you're dancing like Tanjiro, you're gonna have it, man. You're gonna have it. You're gonna be a part of it. So I'm gonna go back a second because your comment deserves real direct thought as opposed to the tangential stuff that I'm doing. I'm sorry. It's just the way that my brain works. It's too analogous to analogy seeking. I can't bear to look at my parents. I feel like I've failed them. I can't bear to seek love. I feel like I ruined their lives with my existence. I'm 17 and I've already given up the will to apply myself. But David asks Lucy for a chance to truly talk, even when it takes all the courage he can muster, and it leads to the start of their bond. They showed their vulnerable, authentic selves, something I wish to, but fear to do. One of the many reasons I love your reactions and discussions, by the way, authenticity. I strive for it so hard, man. It's so hard. And the truth is that every bit of myself that I show opens me up to vulnerability and criticism, and it comes. And it comes in good faith and more often in bad. And what a blessing. And what a blessing that is. Here, a couple days after Thanksgiving, how grateful I am that there are hundreds of people who are willing to tell me when I fuck up. Or at least when they think I have. And, you know, I get the opportunity to defend myself and whatnot, but what a blessing. Authenticity. Next paragraph. They're already there because they found the truth by accepting each other. They're already on the moon. They committed. Paradise is here on earth. Heaven is inside of you. The kingdom of God is within you, to make a direct quote. The fuck does that bullshit religious crap mean? The fuck does that shit mean, man? What does it fucking mean? The kingdom of God is within me, but I'm a fucking struggling mess. And I hate myself. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of heaven. Paradise. Existence with... how about fuck paradise, right? That's just so far away and stupid. How about existence with 1% less pain? I'll take it, man. I'll take it. 1% less pain. Ooh, groovy. Groovy. Because when you're at 100% pain, 1% reduction is like... it's a breath. How do you get there? You choose to. That's it. That's it. There were a bunch of conversations in my Discord about Christian religious faith and the rather stupid framing of the idea, and I agree that it's stupid, of like, oh, you can just repent and be saved. That's how it works, right? So you're an evil person, then on your deathbed you go, I love you, Jesus, and then you get to go to heaven and have fun all the time. Right. No. Not it. Not the one. All you have to do is want it. And then you end up in heaven on earth. Because it's pretty clear, in fact, it's explicitly clear, that hell is a place on earth. And it happens inside you. All you have to do is go betray somebody. Go tell a lie. And then watch what happens to your brain, because you're going to end up in hell. And your lies will pile on top of each other, and you'll end up deeper in hell. And your betrayal will eat at you, and you'll end up in hell. And if you want another piece of hell, all you have to do is avoid people. Because Ren here, writing this comment that's sparking my tangents. Ren, my friend, you are, to some percentage, not in limbo or purgatory or the in-between. To some extent, you are in the hell of loneliness. And I've been there, man. And I've been there. It's part of the reason I'm framed the way that I am. It's part of the reason that I look to and I talk to the camera so much. And that I've framed the camera so that when I'm looking over here, it looks like I'm looking you in the eye as best as I can get it. As best as I can get it, it looks like I'm looking in the eye. Because I want to make connections with people. There goes my timer. And I'm going to restart that for another half hour. Okay. They're already there because they just found the truth by accepting each other. Thank you, Teeaboo, for making me remember the thing I need most is what I fear. And I've been denying that fear for the longest time. Through running away by using escapism of any kind. Running away from relationships instead of running toward them. You sparked the realization I've buried and hid from my soul. I'm just afraid I don't have the strength to break free of my self-sabotaging addiction. Man, I am such a hedgehog. It's the hedgehog's dilemma. Best articulated in Evangelion, and explicitly articulated in Evangelion. It's all of the characters in Evangelion. They're all hedgehogs. It's called the hedgehog's dilemma, and it's a great, great framing device. Hedgehogs need hugs. Hedgehogs are full of spikes. How do you hug another hedgehog without getting spiked? You have to open yourself up to the possibility, and open up yourself to the vulnerability. You have to. I'm just afraid I don't have the strength to break free of my self-sabotaging addiction. So what? I'm afraid of dragons. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go right out and fight them. I was terrified to open my IRS letter. Terrified. Broken terrified. Really anxious and scared. And I opened it up, and I did the thing, and I'm $1,500 richer because of it, and without stress. It's terrifying to go and approach some of the people that I live with and to engage in conflict with them, with the knowledge that they're not as good at engaging in conflict as I am, and the knowledge that I might not be as good at engaging in conflict as I think I am, and that I might fuck it up and might hurt a relationship forever by seeking out conflict. Terrifying. And yet I do it. Because it's a dragon to fight. And you know what happens when you ride out and you slay that dragon, or better yet, negotiate with it? Because what if you can take that dragon that you're fighting and make a deal with the dragon? And the deal is something like, you let the dragon have the territory, the dragon doesn't eat any of your sheep, but the dragon protects your kingdom. Now you're a powerful kingdom with dragons at your side. Pretty rad. That's part of the Game of Thrones story, right? It's like, tame the dragons. The scariest thing, walking through fire. Not burned. Weird. Weird that that would happen in a story. I'm just afraid I don't have the strength to break free of my self-sabotaging addiction. So here's what you need to be strong enough to do. You need to be strong enough to push up against something hard enough that it breaks you. And I would actually suggest starting physically. Embodied. Because again, motive and motivation and thought process follows behavior. So if you perform the physical behaviors of getting hurt, like of doing something that's difficult, until it puts you in a state where you can't do it anymore. Going till death, I call it. Going till the end. Pushing till failure. We do it in the gym all the time. And I've started incorporating it far more into my gym. Just the other day, it wasn't yesterday, because I went differently yesterday, but just the other day, we were squatting. I squatted up to like 245 was my weight, and I did my sets at 245 pounds, full depth squats, and then I got done with those, and I was exhausted, and I went all the way until I was almost done, and my friend was like, all right, we done? We're gonna go bench or something? It's like, no, actually, would you load up a third plate for me? 315 pounds, okay? Huge jump in weight. I've squatted that weight before, right? My max squat when I was my heaviest, I weighed about 160 pounds, and currently I weigh about 130. And at about 160 pounds, I squatted 325 or 335 for 5 reps. Bam, 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 bam. 5 reps. But I weigh 30 pounds less now, and I'm less strong. So I put 315 pounds on the bar, knowing that I probably couldn't lift it, and I picked it up. It was deadly. There was no chance that I was going to get it back up. So I descended all the way into the depths of the squat, and I tried. The bar didn't move at all. And so I dumped the bar, and I failed. And it hurt like a bitch. Because it hurt my ego more than anything. You have to have the willingness to put yourself in a position to hurt, to fail, to not be good enough. And that means striving toward difficult things. But here's the magic. It's that the process, the circuits, the neural circuits that you use to strive toward difficult things are universal. They're not isolated. It's not socially striving toward difficult things, or physically striving toward difficult things, or emotionally striving toward difficult things, or relationally striving toward difficult things, or whatever, or habitually striving toward difficult things. It's all one circuit. And so if you strive toward any kind of difficult thing, it makes you better at all of them. So here's the easiest one that I know. Get into a cold shower. The moment where you have to step into the cold shower is the hardest moment of it. And then breathe. You're going to be breathing really fast. Get your head under there first. As cold as you can get it. Get your head under there and let the water stream down you. You're going to freak the fuck out. And your adrenaline's going to pump. And you're going to want it off right now. Count to 15. And if you can go beyond and see just how far you can push yourself. But all you need to do is count to 15. And then you can turn the water hot and continue on with your shower or whatever. Or you can just get out and be fine. The part that's hard is getting in. The part that's always hardest is starting. So train yourself to be better at starting things and hurting, and then go hurt. Because it's the only way we grow. We are anti-fragile systems. We are self-rejuvenating systems. Most systems in our world, when you break them, they get worse. Human beings, when we're broken, we get stronger. It's the idea that Toriyama wrote into Dragon Ball Z. It's the core idea of like the core of the fighting thing. What makes Saiyans different from everybody else in the galaxy? What makes Saiyans different? It's that when you pummel them nearly to death, they get significantly stronger. Guess what? You, human, you are a Saiyan on every fractal level of your being. If you pummel your musculature into oblivion, it gets bigger and stronger and more capable. I'm showing my arms. I got dinky little arms. I'm not trying to show off here, all right? But this structure is not the way that it was a couple months ago. My shoulders work. My shoulder musculature works, and it's because I've hammered it. My legs are ripped to shit, and they're strong, and I can do like 5 one-legged squats on both legs. I'm fully balanced and capable because I worked at it, because I broke myself over and over and over and over and over and pushed till failure. You can do the same thing with your mind. You can do the same thing with your emotions. You can do the same thing with all of it. You are a Super Saiyan. What you need is stress. What you need is something to break you so that you can rebuild. So go seek out things that break you. Look into David Goggins. David Goggins is a person who actively, continuously seeks out friction. The things that are difficult, most difficult to do. He's addicted to it. He's obsessed with it. He's trained himself to be obsessed with difficulty and then doing the difficult thing. Well, I'll just say look him up and see where he's at right now. Because he wasn't there a little while ago. He was somewhere else. And he made some choices, and they led him to where he is now. It's pretty interesting. Regarding your belief that you're aromantic, here's my proposition. I don't know if this is true, but I think the number of people who call themselves aromantic has spiked immensely in the last couple of years. First off, because it's become more culturally acceptable to say that you are such, and to actually be such. But also I think because, well, romance feels dead, doesn't it? You know, I look at my life, and I was, until quite recently, pretty staunchly anti-marriage. And kind of against committed relationships in general. Well, why? Why might that be if we look at my history? Why might I think that committed relationships are bound to failure? Oh, could it be that my parents split up when I was 10 and I watched them argue for my entire existence before that? Oh, it could be that the core, like, structural nuclear relationship in my life was a failure in a lot of ways. Oh, could that maybe color my perceptions of relationships? Yeah, it could. And now I'm around people who are in relationships that are going well. The couple that I live with, that I rent from, have been together for years. And they're really committed to each other. And they run a household really well. And they communicate really effectively. Even though both of them are not great at communicating, they've figured some stuff out for them, their own way of working through things. So it's like, well, maybe there's something worthwhile in there that we're missing. But here's my point, is this. In a world where romance seems like a bad thing, seems like a failure, seems like it doesn't work, being aromantic is one way to easily escape. You just say, well, I guess I'm just not interested in any of those things, so I don't have to worry about all the bullshit that comes with them. And fair enough. But what if by doing that you're cutting off a huge core portion of your soul? I think you are. I think you are. So seeing their genuine connection has, as you put it, shoved the cruel reality of your loneliness in front of your eyes. And Well, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad because loneliness is a cruel reality and it kills many, many people. And the magical thing is this. If you look around you, you'll notice that all the people you meet are suffering from it too. They're all suffering from it too. I, I don't remember if it was in Cyberpunk, I think it was, but I mentioned the shopping clerk at Bevmo, who was the artist who said that he was an artist and was doing the store clerk thing and not being an artist. Saw him again the other day. Came in, he immediately recognized us and was like, hey! That was the response that we got. Was like, people who talk to me, hi! Immediately recognized us. We ended up talking, my friend ended up talking with him while I went and I perused shelves and stuff. And he ended up talking to him about World of Warcraft and about art and about drawing and about online media. We found out more about the person. You know, what are your plans for today? What are you doing? What are you up to? He's going to go draw while playing World of Warcraft with his girlfriend. Yeah, man. Yeah, go do that. Fuck this shopping cart thing that you're doing. Go do that. But he's still, even though he's not alone, he was still desperate for connection. And we've befriended a couple of other checkout clerks at different supermarkets in different places. We had one of them just yesterday tell us it was like a floodgate. We asked him, one of us asked him, how was your Thanksgiving? And it was like 5 minutes as he's checking out the next two people in line. He's still talking to us, right? Can't stop talking. There's a connection there, like a real connection. And he's doing the like, can I have your card? Okay. Here's your receipt. It's $126 to the next people in line. And then he's turning to us and he's going, yeah, so my nieces came over and, I was really scared that my other nieces and nephews were going to come over because they always steal shit. My girlfriend went and bought all these things for the nieces that are really my nieces. And then my other nieces were going to come over and we were really scared about that because they always steal shit and they stole these like Hello Kitty things that we imported from Japan. And I really didn't want them to come and steal that. But it turned out that they couldn't come because of another reason. So it ended up being a blessing in disguise. And we got to hang out and actually have fun with the nieces that I love so much, and we managed to have a really fun Thanksgiving. And I made all these sandwiches. And he's like, I made all these sandwiches. I made two kinds of sandwiches, and I made one kind of sandwich that was ham and pepperoni, and I made one kind of sandwich that was meatball subs. And I was really sad because I made all the meatball sub sandwiches, and I didn't even get to have one because I ran out of meatballs. And he's looking at me. He's got a big smile on his face, telling me about how sad he was that he didn't get to eat a meatball sub. And I went, well, but your nieces who you really love, they got to eat meatball subs. And he was like, yeah, they totally did. And I didn't get to have one, but that's okay because they got to have it. And I was like, so you sacrificed your own willingness to have one in order to help them? And he's like, yeah, I guess something like that. And it feels really good. It's like, yeah, man. But the thing that really strikes me is here's a person who's got some family relationships that are working. A pretty shit job, let's be honest. Shopping clerk. Not a great job. Kind of not fun. Standing on your feet all day, checking out assholes who are not very nice to you because you're kind of a trash person that they don't care about mostly. And most people don't engage with you as though you're a human being. They engage with you as though you're a cog in a system. They have a goal, which is to check out of this damn supermarket, and you're the obstacle between them and the goal, and the fact that you're human is only secondary. And so he was desperate for connection, and all we had to do was ask him one question: how was your Thanksgiving? And he was off to the races, man. It's like the hedgehog opens up and he's just exploding. I often shove human interaction away, but I desperately need it. We all do. And so what you can find as soon as you wake up and start looking around you is that everyone else needs it too, is desperate for it too. And here's how you become a wizard. Here's how you become a magic person. Go and give it to them. You know what everyone around you desperately needs is just a little bit of genuine attention. It's all that anyone around you needs. They just need a little bit of genuine attention. And if you give it to them, they'll go, oh, wow, oh, thank God, oh my gosh. So I did this at the gym yesterday. There's a woman, and I'll call her a woman instead of a girl because she's a fucking woman. And we've seen her a few times, and she's always lifting really heavy, like hard. We often see her doing hip thrusts, like glute glute work. And then she comes upstairs to where we come upstairs to foam roll and do like mobility stuff. And she does her own mobility routine. And we've like smiled and waved a few times, and we introduced ourselves the other day, but she was in there today or yesterday when we were in the gym. And we ended up striking up a conversation and really talking about, she was wearing a shirt that said like Tokyo on it. So I was like, okay, have you been to Japan? I didn't realize, first off, she's a British expat. So a British person who's here studying nursing in the States. Very cool for her. We ended up just talking. And eventually as we're talking, I did the thing that you never do, which is you compliment somebody on their physique. And I was just like, you've really got it. You know, and I asked her before I did this, I asked where she had gotten her knowledge about how to do all these things. You know, did you start in a sport or whatever? Nope. Learned it all myself. Figured it out by watching other people at the gym. Figured it out all these different ways. And so I complimented her on it. I was like, you really seem to know what you're doing. You look really strong and really sturdy and really capable. And I didn't make it sexual at all. Frankly, this woman is not my type at all. But you look really sturdy and strong and capable. You're doing great. And she went, oh gosh, oh wow, thank you so much. And it's very funny because 5 minutes before, I had told her that, yeah, we've been trying to be more friendly and gregarious at the gym and talk to people, and what I've noticed is that everybody's just scared. And she was like, yeah, everybody just seems to be scared of social interaction. It's very different from where I grew up. It's really weird. Everybody seems to be just scared. And I said to her, every time I talk to somebody and I just give them a little compliment on how they're doing, and I'm not being creepy about it, they go, oh my, oh gosh, oh wow, oh, thank you so much. I've been working on this for, you know. And then 5 minutes later, I did it to her, and she literally did exactly that. She was like, oh wow, oh goodness, thank you. Wow, it means so much to hear you say that. So funny, because then I immediately pointed out, like, there it is. You just did it. And she goes, oh no, hilarious, right? But that's exactly it. A little bit of attention. A little bit of demonstrating that you remember them. You know, we went into the Bevmo and we saw the guy, and I went and I was like, hey, you been drawing? And he's like, yes. I was like, did you buy new paper? He's like, no, I still need to do that. Cool. A little bit of attention, remembering one detail, remembering somebody's name, remembering that you saw them last time. You know, I walked into the outside of the gym and I saw a kid that I had seen benching months ago, and he's now benching 2.5 plates, like 240 pounds. I was like, damn, dude, you're getting strong. He's like, yeah, man, it's going great. Hey, by the way, could you give me a spot? Yes, of course. Yes, I'll help. That little bit of attention, that little bit of care, that little bit of recognize that there are other people who are people. Give it to them. Because now what you realize is that that's in you, right, Ren? It's in you. You can see the pattern of that behavior in all the people around you. And when you see somebody who's desperate for a little bit, who's a hedgehog walking around in pain, worried that they're going to spike all the people around them, you can be the first one to open yourself up to them. And you might be really surprised by what happens. Foster this revelation, Ren. I believe in you. You can really do this. And it's going to be hard as hell. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that it's going to be the easiest thing in the world. But it is the easiest thing in the world. All it takes is the step. And I think that the first step is the cold shower. I really actually do. Because the physical change precedes the mental change. So go run your water cold and stare at it and recognize that it's going to hurt and take a couple deep breaths and stride and strive and step forward into the pain. I believe in you. I really, really do. And I'd love to have a comment from you in a couple days telling me what you've experienced. Okay? Okay. Salient Solutions posts at 1:37:08. Never have I had a reactor get this visual representation so quickly. It's painful how situationally aware you are. I hope this early revelation serves you well, friend. Good luck, Joom. We'll see. This revelation that Salient Solutions is specifically talking about is when they're already on the moon. And I was like, they're already there. Immediate, right? I'm glad that you're glad. I'm glad that you're glad because, well, it's a fun thing to realize, and I'm glad that I realized it. But yes, pattern recognition has been serving me very well. The ability to recognize, well, I'll say this. When it comes to the works of specific artists, I don't know if there's anybody that I'm better at reading than Hiroyuki Imaishi. Is it Hiroyuki or Hirohiko? Hirohiko Araki, Hiroyuki Imaishi. Hiroyuki Imaishi, good. I don't think I'm as good at reading anybody as I am good at reading Imaishi's work. It's so clear to me, the sorts of mythologies that he expresses. So seeing this one, I mean, it's a re-representation of a bunch of things that I've seen elsewhere. And so seeing it again, all the pattern just clicks. But I'm very glad. Volk, you make a really good point about how, ironically, all the social medias / online connections / dating sites, etc., are actually making people more lonely than ever. I used to be super into social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, until just a couple years ago, and despite all the connections I had, it was the loneliest I have ever been. Thinking back about it, it was miserable. I decided to cut all of that shit out, and it's the best decision I have ever made. I am finally really connected with actual people. You are onto something, T. You're damn right I'm onto something. I mean, I killed Facebook before I started this channel. I did it out of paranoia, actually. I read Accelerando, basically. So I read this book, Accelerando by Charles Stross, which I will shill to you again. This is a transhumanist future thing. It's about AI and it's sci-fi. It's very fun. It's a very fun read. And it's about the acceleration of technology and all the socialization of all this stuff. And, well, I read that and I was very afraid of what was going on because we were getting some of those scandals around Facebook selling data and I had just fallen out of the Silicon Valley mindset of like, ooh, data and systems and everything. And I was still in that mindset of like, well, maybe these systems aren't marching toward progress. Maybe they're marching toward co-opting the human soul and spirit into something larger and less effective. You know, maybe these aren't good things. And so I quit Facebook and I quit Twitter and I created a fake name for myself, which is this name, which is Teeaboo. And off I went. But cutting them out was the best decision. That said, you can't really cut off social media in our modern world because you actually need it. So figuring out a way to limit it is really important. Here's a tool that I found that's on my phone that I didn't even realize was on here. I have an Android, so this may not be true for Apple users, but I'm 99% sure that it is. If I go to apps, I think. Under apps, so if I go settings, apps, there's a thing called screen time. And under screen time, it shows you a chart of how much time you've been spending on your phone over the course of a day total. And well, it's going to be more than you expect, I think. But then it also breaks it down app by app, how much you're spending on each application. So that's pretty useful. And then when you click on each app, you can set a screen time timer. So for example, I could set 30 minutes for Instagram. And then over the course of the whole day, it ticks away at that timer every time you open Instagram and spend any time on it. And if you run out of time, you can't open the app anymore. So try that. Go through a couple of your most used apps, because you can go back a day, right? If I go back to Thursday, for example, my most used apps are, it's YouTube for about 4.5 hours of YouTube, because I watched a couple of podcasts and I listened to some things as I was falling asleep. And then I overspent time on Tinder, because I definitely did. Part of that is because I was talking to the person that I'm going to be going on a date with, and we were arranging that. So it was like I was checking Tinder fairly frequently. And then some time on Amazon because it was Black Friday. And so I was looking at deals and stuff. And I did end up purchasing a couple of things. I ended up purchasing some gifts for some other people. I bought a keyboard, like a piano for a child. And I bought him a wobble stool, which is like the stool that I use. I bought him a stool, like a really good chair, so that he can use that with the piano and elsewhere. And those are the gifts that I bought because some of them are on sale. And then I've used some Discord and some YouTube Studio, which is the Studio app, and some Chrome, and my Note app, and a little bit of Instagram, and a little bit of Spotify, and a little bit of Snapchat, and a little bit of my camera, and a couple of other apps. Great. But I can go through those, and I could say, well, I don't really want to spend 2 hours on Tinder, so maybe I'll set a 30-minute timer limit for Tinder total, and now I can't go beyond that. Very useful for, like, limiting yourself a little bit. But in general, the other thing that you need to do, which combines with the comment that we had before this one, is you need to go and actively connect with real people in real life. You have to do it. You have to do it. So, how? Gyms work, but they don't work great because most people in the gyms don't actually talk to each other. You have to get lucky, or you have to be a baller. Like, you have to have some guts and go and talk to people yourself. And that's hard because it's a whole environment. The thing that I actually think might be the best is martial arts. because you're forced to interact with people who are coming in and are at various different hierarchical levels of success than you are. And you end up being a part of a greater chain of mentorship where there will be people above you and there will be people who have less to do than you do. Martial arts, specifically grappling arts, specifically jujitsu. As far as I can tell, jujitsu seems to be and I haven't done it yet, but jujitsu seems to be the best place that I know of in the modern era for real connections, as well as physical connections and socialization with other human beings. Because you're going to meet a bunch of people there, women and men, and you're going to have to be very fucking close to them, and you're going to have to restrain yourself. Because you might end up grappling with a stinky dude, or you might end up grappling with a very hot chick, and either way, you have to treat them like a human fucking being. And you're going to get to know them pretty close. And at least some of the people in your class you're going to get to know. So, seems impossible because there are a bunch of layers to it, right? It's like Rudius in Mushoku Tensei. First, you have to be able to go outside of your fucking house. And then you have to have enough expendable time to go and do a thing, which is to say you have to make the time because you have the time. I guarantee it. You know, how many hours did you actually spend this week playing video games that you could have signed up for a jiu-jitsu class? Too many. Too many. You got to go connect with real people. And I think that something like jiu-jitsu might be the way to do it, or some other martial art, something that gets you in physical contact and in training with some other people. And if that doesn't work, like any of the classes at a gym are really good, you'll at least get some degree of connection with other people, and in that you're doing the same thing with them and learning a thing together. And it will be inevitable that you will end up talking to some of them. It's like when you sit in class with people, you have a couple of options. One of them is to just stare at your stuff, and all you have to do is look over at the next person and be like, hey, what do you think of the lecture so far? Now you're friends forever. Like, actually, you're just friends forever. And ask to borrow a pencil. Secret, simple trick. People like being asked questions, and they like being asked to help you for things. Ask to borrow a pencil, even if you already have one. Just pretend that you don't. If you're at the gym, ask if you can borrow something, whatever. Ask if somebody can show you something that they're doing. That's a great trick. And even if you know how to do it, go up to somebody who's doing something interesting and go, hey, could you show me how to do that? What is that for? Could you show me why you're doing it? Oh gosh, yes. Let me explode with knowledge that I've experienced, and I've spent years gathering knowledge of how to improve my body, and somebody has asked me finally and treats me like I'm competent. Oh God, oh golly, oh goodness, wow. I'm gonna read parts of Tier 1 Sosi's comment, because it's a lot. And this is hard for me to look at sometimes. Because again, I'm not great at taking compliments. Hey T, I don't know if you'll see this lost in the sea of paragraphs upon paragraphs of comments, but I just have to say this and get it off my chest because it means a lot to me. Well, I'm seeing it. Thank you so much for being the most open and most hard-on-sleeve content reactor I have ever seen on the internet fucking ever. You're welcome. And I mean, really, you're welcome now, and I can say that without any compunction. You are welcome to it. My content is free. Feels pretty good to be able to say it. You're welcome. I started watching you through finding out you were starting a Punpun reaction way back since episode 2, and I've joined the journey ever since. I've found out that you're much more than a content creator to me, but a helpful resource to reflect on my... Go the fuck away! But a helpful resource to reflect on my life and who I am as a human. I'm only 16, so I am young, dumb, and I don't know anything. My guy, you are ahead, is what you are. Or gal, I don't fucking know. My human, you are ahead. Because most 16-year-olds think they know the world. Look around at your not friends, right? And look at the arrogant assholes walking around like, yeah, I fucking totally get how this whole world thing works. Totally. You being able to say, I am young, dumb, and I don't know anything? My guy. My human. You're a sponge now. All you need is that little bit of humility. Now go and seek the things you don't know. Go. They're not all in me. I don't have all your answers. Go. Go seek out in the world. Go act. But you make me feel like I have a purpose greater in life than what I'm currently doing. And you strive me. You do. You do. All of us do. All of us do. 3.7 billion years of purpose-driven life. Just trying to live. And you're at the tail end of that. And the future stretches before you. So what are you supposed to do? act in accordance with reality, act in accordance with your being, with your ancestors. And I don't just mean your human ancestors. Act in accordance with your monkey. Act in accordance with your protozoa. Act in accordance with yourself. But you make me feel like I have a purpose greater in life than what I'm currently doing, and you drive me, I think, to push forward even if I don't believe in myself. I know that I have you to keep pushing me forward. That's good. That's good enough. Well, Kamina says it. Don't believe in yourself. Believe in the me that believes in you. But that's a stepping stone, because eventually believe in the me that believes in me is where you need to be. You need to believe in you for you, and believe in your own belief in yourself. But you can get there. You don't have to force it. For now, I do believe in you. Because you're a young, dumb human who's realized that you're young and dumb. And that's the magic. Because if you walk up to any competent person and you treat them with some humility and respect, and you say, hey, you've got something interesting going on. Can you teach me that? They'll go, oh gosh, yes, absolutely. I've been carrying around all this information forever, just looking for somebody to offload it to. Try it with old people. So here's a magical thing. You're 16. You don't even have to try. Just go be around a person who's like 60 and give them 5 minutes and maybe a sip of alcohol. And that's what it'll take for them to start spilling life lessons like bleh. And they might be shitty life lessons because the person might have totally have fucked themselves, right? They might totally not get it. But that's okay. They still made it to 60 without dying, so there's probably something in their viewpoint that's worthwhile. All you have to do is go be around them. They will actively seek out young people and be like, hey, young person, boom, let me share all this shit. Let me shove it down your fucking throat. All you got to do is just be open to it. I'm sorry for being so out and personal and in the open with this, but I was in a psych ward a few weeks ago for trying to kill myself. Yeah. Yeah, that's some real shit, man. You tried to walk away. You tried to take the way out. It's not a brave thing to do. I'm an idiot, you say. Yeah, you're not an idiot. The world is chaotic and crushing and brutal and not always fun. And it doesn't always justify itself. In fact, it often doesn't. And it's unfair. Sometimes the most unfair. Sometimes the best people get the worst circumstances. I was talking to my friend who relayed a story to me. I'll just tangent out into a story very quickly. Told me that he was, he went on a platonic date, which is quite interesting. This is my friend who has less of his shit together than I do. You know, so I'm in a chain of mentorship. I've got a couple of friends who have more of their shit together and a couple of friends who have less of their shit together. This guy has less of his shit together. But he got invited to a fancy dinner, like a fancy schmancy dinner, because he's moving up in his workplace. And so some of the people who are up in his workplace, higher up in sales, are taking notice of him. And they're inviting him to events and stuff and seeing how he behaves, essentially. And so he's brushing shoulders with interesting people, with like doctors and effective salespeople and millionaires and like interesting people. But he was going to a fancy restaurant. He was told to bring a +1. So he asked a girl that he knows from high school who is a little crazy, but they did the whole thing. They knew that this was a platonic date, that they weren't going to bang, that they're not interested in each other. They knew it, and yet they did the whole dressed up. And I got to watch them. Like she when he got ready, she was like, "That watch doesn't match your clothing. Let's go look at your watches." And was like doing the relationship thing where it's like, no, you're gonna wear this one, and we're gonna match your suit to my dress, and we're gonna match the whole thing, and we're going as a unit, and we're doing this whole organized thing to go forward. And I need you to change your shoes for these reasons, and back and forth, right? And they went on this date to this place, and it went spectacularly. But he was telling me this story because at the restaurant where they were, there was a sugar daddy and sugar baby relationship at a table near them. which, to those who don't know, is a man who is assisting a woman in exchange for sexual favors, essentially. It's paid or compensated dating, so which is to say prostitution. It's escorting or something like it. But it's like a consistent relationship where a wealthy, usually man, provides financial support and also a relationship of some kind in exchange for the company and attention of a young, attractive woman. And the sugar daddy apparently walked out on the sugar baby, walked out on the girl, and she freaked the fuck out in a fancy restaurant and ended up like trapping my friend, my guy, in a conversation and basically spilling her guts to him, spilling all of her pain and suffering. She's a single mom because she got fucked over by some guy, and she's going on these compensated dating things, and it's not working, and it's tearing her apart, and it's just miserable. So we were talking about that as the unfairness of life, because you've got this beautiful young woman who doesn't know what she's doing, and in not knowing what she's doing, she's destroying herself. And then he jumped off of that and told me a different story, which is a friend of his that he knew from high school. He said she's like really beautiful, one of the most hardcore, staunchly God-believing religious people that I've ever met. All smiles all the time, recklessly, ruthlessly positive all the time. Really fantastic. And she found the one. She found a man who was really the one for her, and they really made it work. And they decided to have children. And 3 months in, she miscarried her first child. An ideal, near saintly life, you would say. Almost pure from debauchery or any of the things that we traditionalize as sin. A God-believing, hardcore Christian girl who does everything according to the way that it's supposed to be done, you might say, and is struck with the worst punishment. You're not an idiot for trying to kill yourself. What's absurd and amazing is that so many more of us aren't trying to kill ourselves, because this world hurts a lot. So trying to walk away from it, I mean, you know, if you are faced by a blinding light, your first instinct is to close your eyes and turn away. And the light of truth about the world is blindingly painful. It is that it is not an orderly place. And if there is any sort of deity, and I don't think that there is really, I think there are some fundamental ordering forces. We know that physics-wise, magnetism, gravity. I like those a lot. But if there is a deity, then that's not a very fair deity. So it's no surprise that your faith in reality and yourself was shattered. Especially at 16, as you're going through a lot, and the world is in chaos. But I'll continue. I was in a psych ward a few weeks ago for trying to kill myself. I'm an idiot. But coming out of that space, I've started medication and I've been feeling better. Good. The meds can really help for some people. Be careful and make sure that you're under supervision and watch yourself, because some of the meds can cause more problems than not, and make sure that you don't miss your doses, because that can spiral you out of control. I've adopted a kitten, which is my source of life and being right now, and I'm now looking into a job so I can have a stable income, which I can also use to continue to support you. You don't need to worry about me, man. I appreciate it. And if that's the goal that you need to align yourself, do it. And I will appreciate it immensely. Your $5 will mean a lot. It'll mean a lot, and I'll try to use them effectively. Really will. But getting a job, having some stability and some income, it's like the first element of confidence. Of, well, if you've been treading water for a while, right? In the open ocean, and there are sharks down below you, and there are birds circling waiting for you to die, right? And fish picking and pecking at your feet. And it sounds like my existence or my videos have been a piece of driftwood for you to cling on to. Something to keep you over over the surface. And as you said, a few weeks ago, you were in a psych ward, so you were dipped below. And as you dipped under the surface of the water, that thought that crosses into all of our minds when we're close to death came to you. And the thought was, what if I just stayed here? What if I just stayed under the surface and let myself drown? It's so hard. My arms are aching from treading water. There's no land in sight. There's no way out. It's just pain. Why don't I just let the sharks have me? Because gravity's always pulling you down. Always, always. Chaos is always eating at you. Entropy's always tearing you apart. Might as well just drown. So I'm glad you found that piece of driftwood. The kitten is a second piece of wood. Something worthwhile in your life, worth taking care of, something beyond yourself, right? A little bit of altruism, a little bit of a place to cast your bread. That's very good. The job, that's a rowboat, man. Once you have a job, you're no longer treading water. You're no longer stuck. You're still working. You still got to pull the damn oars, right? You still got to move yourself. You're not on a steamboat that goes on its own. You know, if we take this metaphor out, once you're like a millionaire, your money sort of makes itself and you can have an engine and shit. But for right now, you're in a rowboat, okay? And you're still soaking wet. And the rowboat could fall over at any point and tip you back into the ocean. You'll be back treading water. But guess what? You've gotten out of it once. And you know what a boat looks like. And you know how to get into one. Okay. So the job is a rowboat. Once you have it, you have a little bit of stability. It's still rocky. And you still have to put in work. You still have to push. But you can choose a direction now. And even though you don't know where land is, no clue, you can start moving. Because you're not just worried about staying where you are and not dying. So good, get a job. I don't care what it is. I don't give a fuck. Learn from it anyway. Treat it as a training ground. Because whatever job you get at 16, 17, 18, 25 should not be the job that you have for life. And it should not be your career. If you're still flipping burgers by 21, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. But if you're flipping burgers at 16 and learning how fucked food service is, you're doing it right. Go and serve and get money for it. Go be a busboy. Guess what? Busboys don't make bad money. That's what's so funny. Go be a dishwasher. Burn your hands on hot water every day. Find out what work is. Go work in a stinky kitchen. Go be a janitor at a gym. Gyms always need janitors. It's actually a really good place to be. You're gonna be treated like shit. Because people are going to walk by you like you don't exist, just like you do to janitors at gyms that you see, or janitors at schools. Go do something simple and menial and shitty, and go home at the end of every week with a paycheck. And you can go from zero to maybe a few $100s of truly and fully expendable currency power that you can spend on bettering yourself, right? Altering your food habits, changing your behaviors, purchasing the things that you need, getting clothing that makes you feel like a human, getting technology that lets you integrate with other people, buying books that change your life. And you have opportunities. Because with that money, you can, if you need to, you can choose to have a car. You can choose to put gas in it or electricity in it, whatever. You can choose to have a vehicle, and that opens up your power. And you can choose, for example, to go on a date with somebody. That opens up your power. A few $100s is not nothing, man. It's everything. It's everything. I'm tight on money, but sure enough, every month for the past few months, I've been doing my best to support you with just $5 a month. Thank you. Thank you. Nothing but gratitude. Even if it's not enough, I wish I could give you more. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to give me more. I need to convince more people to give me a little bit. Then you don't have to worry about it. Because I'm doing okay. And I think I'm going to continue to do okay. Because I think these videos are going to continue blowing up. And I think they're going to reach more and more people. And I think that the ideas that are present here are powerful enough and capable enough to be worthy of not only attention, but reciprocal payment. Something like that. Equivalent exchange. The connection you form between yourself and the viewers is extraordinary and just otherworldly. You're so much more than just a content creator to me. You're an outlet where I can feel safe and can learn and expand my brain on ways to fix my own personal issues and problems. Okay, so we have to worry about this slightly because it's the realm of parasocial relationships, and the truth is that we're not friends. I don't mean that I'm not friendly to you or that I don't care about you. Immediately after reading this, you've bared some of your soul to me, and our connection is not unreal. It is definitely real, but we aren't friends, and you know a lot more about me than I'll ever know about you, and you don't know whether what I've said is actually true. And sometimes neither do I. But I could be lying. I'm not, but I could be. And there's a screen between us, and that's distance. And so our relationship is not really social, it's parasocial. And so don't worship me. Don't put me up on high. I'm just a person. If you're behind me, follow me. If you're ahead of me, help me. If you're next to me, let's strive together. We should all be marching in a similar direction, and you shouldn't be worshiping me. I know that you're not, and I'm not trying to say that you are. Just watch yourself, because feeling too close a bond to somebody that you don't know completely, it's going to make you feel like I'm something greater than I am. And I'm not. I'm just a weeby guy. I've got a few skills that are really valuable, and I'm converting on them as hard as I can. And that's kind of the lesson, is like, take the skills that you have, convert on them, and go. Just don't let yourself become trapped by my charisma, because it might trap you, and you might find yourself just emulating me instead of figuring out who you are. And I'd rather you figure out who you are. But I'll continue your comment. You make me feel like I can do those things and push forward and push and push. I'm just one voice in a sea of others, but I hope you can see this and know you matter and have such a great impact on your fans. You're just so real and open with your emotions, and I feel a strong, deep connection. So there's the parasocialness. You just have to be careful. It is a real deep connection. When you talk to the camera, it feels like you're talking to me personally. That's why I have it set up the way that I do. It's intentional. It's a framing device. Just two humans communicating, even if I can't answer or respond back. Well, you can in the form of comments, but it's not the same, and you're right. Sorry if I repeat myself a lot, my vocabulary isn't that bright, but I'm just trying my absolute best to describe how much your content means to me. It's okay. Keep trying. I will continue to support you even if $5 is all I can manage a month. If it ever stops being, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. There are a lot of people who feel the way that you do, and I'm going to reach them too. And some of them actually have money, which is the funny thing, is that there are plenty of people who have money and they're still lost because money doesn't solve it. I want to see you grow and keep pushing as with me. I want to be better, and I want to grow as a person like you, and hopefully one day be as amazing and real as you are, T. You're already there. And think this through. You're having these revelations at 16 years old, my friend. It took me about a decade longer. I'm 28. Where are you going to be in 12 years? Because in the last year, I've gone from boy to man physically, and I'm still on the process. And I've gone from lost to found. And a whole bunch of the stuff that you've seen has changed just in the past couple of months. Now, a lot of it was building there, and these aren't things that come from nowhere. These are things that have been going since the beginning of the channel, you know? But if you have 12 more years to build on some of the foundational revelations that have changed my life just in the past year, and you look at where I'm at now and you go, that's a pretty cool place to be. Well, by the time I'm 40, you're going to be 28, and I'll be 40. 12 years. And I'll be miles ahead, because I'm not going to stop moving. But where will you be at 28 compared to where I am at 28? Because you'll be 12 years ahead of me. You'll be 12 years ahead of me relative to your own life. And most of my changes happened in the last year. Where could you be when you're 28, when you're 30? You're 16 right now. Where are you going to be in 5 years? What's the goal? 21, okay? You're going to be able to start drinking at 21. Yippee-ki-yay. Go and experiment. Have fun. Where are you going to be at 21? Here are some things that you could be at 21. You could be a struggling artist. It's a good place to be, actually. Having a part-time job that just barely supports you, and then throwing all your all into your art. It's not a bad place to be. I think it's a reasonable place to be. As long as the artist is the part that's really you. You could be heading into your last year of a 4-year university degree. And you should be, I think, if you can get there, if you can afford it, if you can figure it out, if you can piecemeal it together, if you can pay your way. Because if you're capable of having your mind on and taking advantage of the opportunities for education that are present in the university system will treat you very well. If you just go and you expect that the university system will just mold you into a better human being without your effort, good luck. But if you really want it, here's the thing. At 16, you can turn yourself on to the idea of science and education, and you can go, man. You can really go. And then by the time you're 28, you could be an MD. You could be a doctor, as dumb as you think you are. Or how about this? You could be a psychiatrist or a psychologist, maybe. How about a psychologist and a therapist, you know? Because maybe it might be really good for you to go study psychology and figure out what the fuck happened to your brain that made you almost kill yourself. And then once you've figured that out, maybe you can go and you can help other people who are in your circumstance. Because you just experienced something amazing, which is you went and you ended up in a ward and you got some help and the help worked, right? Well, you've been given a gift. Maybe you could give some gifts. Maybe it would be worth, maybe as an overarching goal, maybe it would be worthwhile to turn yourself into somebody who can afford to give gifts, who can afford to sacrifice your time to help people who are in need, maybe children. Because as far as I can tell, well, I'm going to put in a lot of effort to slay contempt for being. But you can't kill that motherfucker. And so, by the time you're 28, probably suicide is going to be as bad or a worse problem in our nation and others, and depression as well, and loss of connection and isolation and loneliness. So maybe you could fight against those if you had the skills. So maybe seeking out a way to get those skills. You know, you seem to admire me, and I appreciate that. It's hard for me to admire myself because I can see myself, and you only see the picture of me that I show you. While I try to make that as honest as possible, it's still just a depiction. It's a facade to some extent, regardless of what I do. If you admire me and what I'm doing, then try to do that in some circumstance. And it might be YouTube videos, but it probably isn't. Most people aren't cut out for this. And that's not an insult. I don't think that this is the greatest profession in the world. I think that it's not a great profession for a lot of people. But pursue something like it. Pursue a path that leads you down the path of being able to help people. Specifically people who are in the same boat as you are. Because that's my path. My path is, I was a hikikomori who ran away from everything in my life in order to go toward anime and video games. And the thing that changed my life was the perspective shift, which happened, by the way, after using some substances, namely LSD, years ago, and watching Devilman Crybaby, and recognizing that idea around Devilman Crybaby was the same idea as the Jungian self-integration with the shadow, and putting it all together. And the revelation for me was this idea of magnetic symplectitude, or things linking together. It doesn't really matter at this point. What matters is I had these revelatory ideas of putting yourself together. And I got those ideas from art and media. And so the bigger idea was you can get ideas about how to live from art and media. And everybody goes, yeah, of course you can. So what? It's like, no, man, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that if you steal ways of being from Naruto and Tanjiro and Light Yagami and L and Lelouch and and David and Lucy and Maine and Ryuko and Satsuki and Mako and Kamina and Simone and Yuko and Kitan and the girl from Gunbuster, I fucking forget her name, and the Nonon from Diebuster, Nonoriri, and Noriko, and Shinji, and Asuka, and Rei, and woman who drinks, I forget. If you steal elements of their lives, you can use those to really materially alter the way that you look at your life, because all of them are playing out those stories. And you can see the story and go, wow, I'd love to live in a story like that. I'd love to be a mastermind. What does that mean? I'd love to be a leader. What does that mean? I'd love to aim for a goal and shoot for it despite hardship. What does that mean? I'd love to gather a group, or One Piece. I'd love to, Luffy. I'd love to gather a group of friends and go out adventuring. What does that look like? Or Aang from Avatar. I've been granted this great passed down genetic power, 3.7 billion years of lineage, right? To manifest you as the most complicated entity in existence, which you are. You, as a human being, are the most complicated entity in existence. The only thing that's more complicated than you is the internet, which is a giant structure that is connecting a whole bunch of things that are as complicated as you. Most complicated thing in existence, easily, that we know of, human beings. Most complicated. Way too complicated. It's like one gram of DNA contains like multiple trillion terabytes of data. How complicated can you get, man? And you can move and articulate, and you're made up of millions of cells that are constantly dying and reshifting each other. So complex. How do you go about incorporating and integrating with the world and acting within it? The answers are in the stories. And so I wanted to share that idea. The world, to really share it, and to share it directly by showing what it looks like when I see those stories, because I see them from that perspective almost always, is like, what am I taking away from this? Who are these characters and how do they relate to me? I'm watching anime very selfishly, and then selflessly I make it free and I show you. I show all of you what I'm doing too. And some of you, like you have, learn. Some of you get it, man. And the proof is in the pudding. Because I'll bet you something. Tier 1. I'll bet you're never going to try to kill yourself again. And I don't take responsibility for that. Not one bit. You're responsible for that. It's your responsibility. But I don't know if it would be the case if you hadn't been reached by something. If something hadn't been that light. That light in the darkness. That beacon for you to strive toward. And it didn't have to be me. But because I happened to put the content out there, it happened to be me that you resonated with. And so if I had 0.1% of an impact on preventing you from ending your existence, then every bit of work I've put in is worthwhile. Because you, my 16-year-old friend, you're next. What are you going to do? You've got all the power in the world. You're next in line to be Avatar. It's all been passed down. As long as you understand where you came from and you look toward a future, you can guide the world. Guide the world. I believe in you, and I will continue to believe in you until and after the point that you don't need me to anymore because you've learned to believe in yourself. And I believe that point will come for you. Strive toward it. Strive toward it and make yourself, forge yourself, mold yourself, break yourself down and rebuild yourself until you are worthy, until you are somebody who you could believe in. Because just believing in yourself when you're, and I'm not saying this is what you are, but when you're a fat, lazy piece of shit is bullshit. It's platitudes. It's staring in the mirror and going, I am beautiful. I'm great. Bullshit. And you're lying to yourself and you know it. No. I could be beautiful. I could be great. I could be worth admiration. My own admiration. My own heart could love me. I could do that to myself. and it's gonna hurt. So go get hurt, man. Go get hurt. Find the thing you don't want to do and do it. Get into the cold shower. Go. Thank you for writing the comment. It means... I don't even have words. I don't have words. It means everything. It means everything. You're a whole being. That I could affect you by any amount. And you're a young, impressionable human being. A whole being. That I could affect you to any amount is spectacular and terrifying to me. And it means that I must be very careful. I must be very careful. Because there is the possibility to impact people in a significant and negative way as well. And that power scares me. But I will embrace it. And I will admit that it's possible and maybe unavoidable. And I will try to avoid hurting people as much as I can. And I will try to help people as much as I possibly can. So thank you for speaking out and saying that what I have done has helped you. It really means a ton. Onward. Damon Redfield has sort of a meta comment. What I appreciate about all the references and cameos is how understated they are. So like the lady in the scene, in the bar, the scenes still flow neatly without needing extra content. Compare it to the new Star Wars movie, where they wink at you and draw much attention to themselves pulling out of the movie. Yeah, it's very much like, ooh, there's the Millennium Falcon, you remember this? Ooh, there are the Hutts, you remember those? Ooh, there's a lightsaber, you remember those? Ooh, there's a Death Star, you remember that? Ooh, it's an X-Wing, you remember those? It's just nostalgia fucking. And it's basically masturbatory as far as I can tell. It's not indicating anything interesting. And, well, essentially the same is true for most of the Disney properties that Disney has purchased over the last years. And it's very scary because they're the core of our media engine, which is to say our mythological engine. The original Disney movies are stellar myths. The recent Marvel movies and Star Wars movies are not. They're pretty shite. A couple of them are really quite good. I actually really like Joss Whedon's Avengers. I don't think that Ultron is that bad, actually. And some of the greater Avengers and Infinity War stuff, real solid. Both the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, pretty good. The top tier of those films is not bad. And like the original Iron Man films, excellent narratives. Excellent. Self-generating heroic narratives, excellent. But then there's a whole bunch of garbage, and it's really garbagey. And it's very wink and nudge, and very formula, very like, smash, bang, say a quip, you know, Captain America throws his shield and it bounces 75 bajillion times and he does a flip and he catches it and then he says something witty like, you've just gotten America'd, you know, not something that stupid, obviously. Or he turns and he looks at Black Widow and is like, take that for a date, you know, something stupid. And then she leaps up and suffocates a man with her pussy, which is what Scarlett Johansson does, and flips around him 7 times. And all the people in the audience go, strong female characters, wow! Even though she's a sex machine in the show. It's like nothing to the character. Just a sex machine who kills people. It's like, fuck. I'm sorry for going off on Marvel, but man, I hate them. I hate them. I've seen them. They're everywhere. Yagi Dihoshi, I believe in you so goddamn much, T. Please keep toward onward, and I should follow not far behind in transcending with you. Vinicius Alves. Sorry for saying your name as though it's Latin. Vinicius Alves. I think actually Vinicius is better. Your videos lately have been incredibly energizing. The care you display for your content, the art you witness, the people around you, and those that are not to yourself. By care, I mean mostly investment and empathy. It's something deeply moving. Just want you to know that. I also want you to know that while our lives are likely wildly different, I see so much in common between our paths. You start to see so much of you in other people if you start just paying attention to them. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. Oh, and for giving me the opportunity to see a bit of me reflected in you. I thank you. In other words, I think I might start taking cold showers now. That's the win, baby. That's all I care about. Fuck all your compliments and shit. Go take the cold shower. Get in. Go. Go. Oh, here's something useful. I heard about this just a second ago. It's called a physiological sigh, S-I-G-H, sigh. what you do is you take it through the nose, you take 2 inhales and then a slow exhale. So it goes. And apparently do it. Wow. Immediately. Wow. Oh, please do that. Please do that. It's like immediate. It's like as effective as multiple minutes of meditation. It brings in some oxygen. It forces the valves in your lungs open with the first breath, and then a little bit more, and it primes them to offload a bunch of carbon dioxide into the lungs as you go. Something like that. Regardless, do that right now, and you will feel different. Okay, so, and you only need to do 1 to 3. Sometimes you'll find that just 1 will get you, and sometimes if you're a little bit more stressed out, you'll need 2 or 3, but you probably won't need more than 5, and immediately you'll feel a little bit more attuned, a little bit more okay. And it's way different. It's way better than although you can do that too. The little double inhale and to breathe out, it works. Okay, anyway, I want you to know that while our lives are likely wildly different, I see so much in common between our paths. Listen, man, we're all in, to some extent, this boat. We're way more similar as human beings than we are different. We like to think of ourselves as these unique special snowflakes. And I know I'm using the etymology, but most of you is exactly the same as almost everybody else. You know, you're the same basic body. You've got a core and a torso, and you've got a skeleton that's at least the same as all of the people of your gender mostly, and mostly the same as all of the people who aren't of your gender as well. It's like mostly all the same. Little bits of differences in hip anatomy and stuff, but who cares? Your brain structure is about the same as the brain structure of literally everybody else. Your heart is built the same as about literally everybody else. Your stomach and intestines are built the same as almost everybody else. You have feet and hands. They're about the same as everybody else. Now, that said, there are people who are far more distinct, and we consider those anomalous, but some of them are living great lives. And so finding the places where they're more similar, well, I'll put it that way. People with genetic anomalies or disorders or disabilities, people who have lost limbs or were born without them, they're still far more similar to other people than they are not. Even if you are a quadruple amputee with no limbs, you're still more similar to any other human being than literally anything else in the universe. So the idea that we might end up down certain similar paths of self-exploration kind of makes sense. So here's the magical thing that you can do to step out of that. How many years have humans been around? A few million. Okay. How many of those humans have struggled with grief, let's say? Having lost somebody who's close to them and have had to figure out a way to deal with that. All of them, probably. You know, like all of them. Like every single one of those millions of people. Okay. How many of those do you think were literate in the past couple thousand years? People who had dealt with grief and are literate, can read and write. Thousands and thousands, millions? Okay. How many of them that are literate do you think actually had the wherewithal to write something down about their experiences? Easily thousands. Okay. And how many of them were really right on the money with what they wrote down? At least hundreds. So at least hundreds of people have experienced the exact same struggle that you have figured out a way through it, have written it down somewhere, and have made it available to the world. So, whatever you're struggling with, the chances are, 1, there are probably thousands of other people right now in the real world struggling with the exact same thing, and you should go find them. And 2, there are probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people who've experienced the same thing over the course of history and have dealt with it. And some of them have written it down, and you can go and read about it. So I see much in common about our paths too, even though I have no idea what path you are on. I hope that it is a manifold path. And I've been using that as a term because Buddhism has this term that is the eightfold path. Which consists of 8 noble practices. Right view, right viewpoint. Right resolve, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, which is your work for a living, right effort, right mindfulness, and right samadhi, which is equanimous equanimous meditative awareness, or meditative absorption or union. So non-dualism. That's the eightfold path that they put out there. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I mean, I've studied the Buddhist paths and the Dharmic paths and all that shit for a while. It's pretty great. It's pretty useful stuff. I care about a manifold path. That is a many-fold path. Well, what is a manifold? First, a manifold is many and various. Manifold. A manifold, a many-fold path. A varied path. But a manifold, in the terms that I use, like there are manifolds in your car engine. There are manifolds in your piping system. It's a pipe or a chamber that branches into several openings, several different pathways. A manifold. A many-fold path. And then in mathematics, it's a collection of points forming a certain kind of set. So in this case, a manifold path would be the set of points that form the set of paths that could be walked by human beings. You are walking on a manifold path, and we are all on the same manifold, really. It's just that we go on different pipes. What we forget is that all the pipes are connected, because they all originate in the same place, in life. And they all go to the same place, too. The great drain pipe of death. We're all headed there. So where we wander and twist and turn in our journeys, and the loops we go down, and the places and sticking points that we follow, those are what make up the structure and the texture of our existence. But at the beginning and the end, we start in the same place, and we all end in the same place. And so many of us walk paths that intersect many times as we twist and turn and curve together toward our final rest. All you have to do is look out and see that the pipes around you are clear, not opaque, and you can see outside of your own path and to the paths of others. And to break up the analogy, like Super Monkey Ball, you can kind of flip your whip out of those paths and into the others and empathize with them and experience with them and materially alter the course of your path. Because as soon as you're awake, you recognize that there are all these choices that you've been making, all these branching tubes and branching pathways. And you can see down and you can judge at least a little bit where each branch will take you if you follow it to the right or to the left or to the up or to the down. When you do that, you gain a little bit of control over your existence. Just a little bit. Because you're still going to end up dead. Just like me. Still going to end up dead. But you get to choose how you get there. The whole way. I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. So I'm glad to resonate with you. And I hope you go and take those cold showers. Will Hart writes, I'm starting to get why you wanted to not accept money for previews on Patreon or early access on Patreon anymore. Requiring money seems to taint connections. This is in reference to my conversations about OnlyFans and sex work, which I'll read something else, which is that somebody has, a lot of people have grossly misinterpreted me, which is my fault, I suppose. Bamps writes, sex work, I think the problem we may be running to as a society technologically is expectations. We turn to some place like OnlyFans for sex work, or Twitter, or Instagram, or any of the number of places where that kind of sex work is expressed. We turn to Tinder for human connections. Yikes. That's a scary phrasing. No one is turning to the sex work site into a site for human connections. That's not true. Parasocial relationships on OnlyFans sites are huge. There are a lot of women selling girlfriend experiences. A lot of them. Chatting and communication via money. Like, money is the prerequisite for attention. It is being, the sex work is being the place for human connection. And that's been the case for forever. Prostitutes for forever have self-reported that a lot of their clients don't want to fuck them. They just want to talk. And they want to fuck them too, but mostly they're there to talk. It's really interesting. You can go and look into it. A lot of sex workers say that a lot of the men that they end up interacting with just want somebody to talk to because they're fucking alone. And the same is true now more than ever. Okay, sorry. But the human connection site is being corrupted into something it was never supposed to be. A sex work site. We don't go to McDonald's for a 5-star meal, we go there for large piles of unhealthy calories. So, using OnlyFans or Tinder as a stand-in for the greater genre of sites in there, and fair enough. I'm going to skip down to the comment from Jav Gamers on this one. I've seen a bunch of people in T's Discord saying he's an incel and misogynist for his comments on sex work. Yes. Which is just so not the point that he's making here. Yep. I was called, I said I did an incel rant, somebody phrased it. Disgusting. I was called gross, by a couple of people. Some real fucked up phrasing. And mostly it was people who hadn't watched the video at all, who were just hearing secondhand a poor paraphrase of what I had expressed. And that's how it goes. Is that you end up playing telephone, and whatever you say gets boiled down to the most vitriolic version of whatever it could be, because people misinterpret it in layers and layers and layers, and have no idea that they're misinterpreting it because they actually can't see, which is sad. Most people are fully blind to anything but their own framing of the world, you might say, and incapable completely of seeing the potential for other framings, which is why the framing that you need to be holding so close is the framing that all framings can be valid. Anyway, which is just so not the point that he's making here. It's not, wow, women won't fuck me or date me. No, I can do okay. Like, again, I'm if I had lower standards, this would be really easy. I'm quite picky. I get likes and matches and stuff just with women that I'm not interested in. Because I'm not interested in most women. I'm not interested in most people. Most people fucking suck. Again, I'll say this. The average IQ is 100. By definitionally, that's how we decide what IQ is that we say that whatever the average is, it's 100. Okay, what that means is that about half the population are actually idiots. Not just dumb. And I've met some dumb people who are great. I mean, idiots. Incapable of putting a condom on their face. Wait, where does the condom? It doesn't go over my head? I don't just suffocate myself in the plastic bag? Oh, I see. Idiots. Some people are dumb. There's a whole gradation. I don't mean this as insulting as it needs to be, or as it comes out as, but like, I don't like most people. I don't want to date most people or befriend them. Most people would drag me down into the dirt. And, well, as the phrasing goes, and beat me with experience. You never argue with an idiot, right? And I understand that there's arrogance, and this is gonna get filtered down, and people are gonna pull a clip from it or something, and they'll be like, he thinks that everybody's stupid and he's smarter than everybody. It's like, no, I fucking don't. I know for a fact that about half the population of the world are stupid as dirt. But anyway, it's not, wow, women won't fuck me or date me. Like, I get good signals from people continuously. And it's like, the other layer is that there's no shortage of knowledge that I am somewhat a sexually attractive entity, to some extent. Because gay men hit on me all the time. All the time. It's a huge part of why I thought I was gay or bi. Was because it was available. You know, and I didn't know how to deal with women. And, well, you don't need to know how to deal with men. They come right up to you when you're moderately attractive to them. They just flood you. It's fucked. Anyway, that's sort of all over the place, but this is the stuff. This is what gets to me. It's not, wow, women won't fuck me or date me. He's talking about the selling of sex in places that are supposed to be meant for making long-term connections. Or even short-term connections, just connections. Just being able to go on a date or see somebody face-to-face is really hard to get to. Because most of them are like, oh, you want to date me? Haha, no, how about you pay me $5 and I'll talk to you? How about you pay me $5 and I'll send you a picture of my titties? That's what I want out of our relationship, is your wallet. And what you actually should want out of our relationship is not a relationship, it's a picture of my titties. That's what you should care about. Fuck that. He's talking about the selling of sex in places that are supposed to be meant for making long-term connections, the commodification of the self and what that does to a person, and spending money in order to spend time with somebody, right? Indicating that your time is worth more than somebody else's, which it is not. Most of these prostitutes that I meet Their time is not worth half as much as mine. Not even a little bit, not even close. What, their time is worth something because they've got a pretty face? Yeah, them and 3 billion other people. Fuck off. I don't give a shit. Pretty. Pretty and fit is the bar. That's the bar. Physically and genetically attractive, and you have your fitness in order. That's the lowest bar that I've got. And most women that I meet or see or swipe past cannot clear the bar. The basest bar. Don't be actively killing yourself by being a smoker or obese or by hating everything in the world. And be, have a moderately acceptable genetic structure, and that you seem to have your shit together and not be completely chaos. That's all you need. But then most of those girls who seem interesting aren't real, effectively. They don't want a relationship. They want money. And I think it's destroying them. And I think it's destroying the young men who are there as well. Because when I dove into it, and I've stepped back from it, okay? I really dove into it, and I've stepped back away from it. And I've gotten betrayed less as I've put like a no soliciting with big red circles with lines through them, big no signs, no soliciting, no OnlyFans, no Snapchat, no. And I've gotten way less of the shit, way less of the garbage, and my filter's a little bit higher, so I'm pretty effectively checking people and figuring out whether they're bots or scammers as we go. So I've gotten less hurt. And I've stepped back away from it and spent less time on the apps and investing myself and investing my mind into these apps. That's really good. But it's still fucking happening. It's still fucking brutal. Not much of a fan, right? 59, which is where I was worried about removing stuff. For the worry about removing stuff behind a paywall, take a bit of solace from a podcast called No Agenda that preaches the value for value model. The idea is that for providing value to us, in order to continue the content, it should be understood that we, the viewership, should return that value in the form of time, talent, or treasure in some shape or form. Whether that is helping you or giving you treasure, money, as long as you open up the avenues to let the viewers, producers, do so. Yeah, fantastic. It's exactly what I want. It's just hard, and I have to continuously remind you because you'll forget completely. It's like Wikipedia, right? And this is the problem with it, is that Wikipedia is, as far as I know, the most valuable source of information in the modern world. And they're constantly struggling because they have to remind everybody every time that they go onto the site that they need to donate some money, and nobody donates. I donate. Enough people do that Wikipedia is still existing. But, Wikipedia should be fucking thriving, right? We should have millions of dollars being channeled toward Wikipedia, toward the greatest source of crowdsourced information in existence. Millions of dollars should be being channeled toward it, not pennies. So there's a tough thing there, which is that the capitalist system of demanding something for and in exchange and really demanding it seems to work. What if we can change that? I don't know. I'll read Con D. Nguyen's comment, at least little bits. For the plot of the story, the problems/plot holes are starting to show up. It doesn't make much sense when Night City is such a dangerous place and nobody in the team actually addresses how dangerous messing with a guy's breaking social norm is. Peeing in the street, showing his dick in the open. You can see the writer's design to make the deaths seem heavier, but those characters shouldn't do those actions in the first place. Okay. Well, the characters are also hyper-confident badasses, So they think that they can fuck around with this idiot. Most people in the city aren't deadly. And so they consider themselves quite capable of dealing with him. And Pilar is an asshole and a fool. So, he's constantly berating people, getting in people's faces, fucking with people, messing with people, being an asshole. And finally, somebody shoots him in the head. Seems about right. Seems exactly right. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about in terms of plot holes. It's exactly right. Lucy was supposed to be a guarded person, but somehow she showed him about the moon trip first time they were together. At the time, she was also fully planned to sold David out to her teammate, but now we know that it was her deepest secret. She just feels inconsistent. This may seem like nitpicking, but every episode's have these characters' inconsistency. Review each episode when myself know about the entire show, just paint the story as juvenile at best. Okay, so I responded to this in a very simple phrase. It's a myth, not a chronicle. A chronicle is a story about things that happened. A myth is a story. That's the difference. It's the whole difference. Myths don't make sense. Zeus turns into a goose and comes down to Earth and fucks a woman, and that makes one of his sons. Okay, the fuck is that about? Well, it's a myth about Zeus being a lusty bitch. Mostly. You know, Perseus goes and slays the Gorgon. Okay, well, that doesn't make sense. Medusas don't exist, and there's, snake ladies don't exist, and why would she be in a labyrinth? And why even would having a mirrored shield affect the whole thing and let it be so that he could see it? Wouldn't it just reflect the powers off of the mirrored shield and into him? Couldn't he just use the mirrored shield and use it to reflect her gaze into her? I've definitely seen some elements of the myth that work that way, too. But that doesn't make any sense at all. Well, it's a myth. It's not a chronicle. It's not telling the story of history. It's telling a myth. You read the Odyssey and it's like, okay, so this guy's all smart and shit, and then he decides to have his sailors tie him to the mast so that he can hear the sirens sing? Like, why? He knows that they're bad. Just plug up your ears with the wax like everybody else, bro. Why would he do that? That's so stupid. Well, it's a myth, not a chronicle. It's not telling a story about what really happened. It's telling a story about how things might happen. So why Lucy was supposed to be a guarded person, but somehow she showed him about the moon trip? Well, she's a guarded person, but she's also fucking desperate for affection and attention in a legitimate way. A real connection. And she actually feels a real connection with him, despite herself. Despite herself. I experience this all the time, in real life, constantly. You talk to somebody, and despite themselves, despite their anger, not their anger, despite their armor, despite their guards and their walls, you speak to somebody, for example, a beautiful woman perhaps, you break through her shell a little bit and talk to her and get a little bit smiley and laughy and in a good mood and in a good zone. And she'll tell you about some of her deepest secrets in moments, in minutes, her dreams and goals, the things that she holds dear. Why? Because people would really like other people to know about their secrets and dreams and goals. Why do I constantly, and I do this constantly, maybe too much, why do I constantly talk about why it is exactly that I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm aiming for? Well, it's because it's a negotiated state that I'm speaking it to you, right? And people need that. People express their wishes and dreams to other people to see what other people think of them. Lucy holds this wholehearted dream. She meets this kid who's an idiot. She shares her dream with him. For one night, they have this moment of intimacy, and it's not real to her. And to think that she's just a contradiction because she wants to sell him out, but also wants to know him. Man, you haven't met enough women. You think it's a plot hole that the beautiful feminine character in our show is incomprehensible? You think that's a plot hole? Ha! Have you ever met a woman? Have you ever met a human being? And you think they're comprehensible? So you think you comprehend yourself. Do you? You think you understand yourself? Sure, bud. Sure, buddy. Yeah, you totally understand yourself. Have fun with that. Have fun with that supposition about reality. Come back in a couple months when you're fucking destroyed. When you're fucking destroyed. Because you don't understand yourself at all. If you did, you would say, I have no idea what the fuck I am. Because you don't have a clue. And even if you've read a dozen really good books on what is a human being and what is consciousness anyway, and how do we work anyway, and how do our symbolic representations of all those things work, that's a book to start with, Man and His Symbols. Or how about this one? This one's pretty good too. Both of these books, hard recommend. For figuring out who you are. And what you're going to figure out is you have no idea. And so why would Lucy? And why would you, presumably male, have any fucking clue what's going on with Lucy? You ever date a girl? Did you have any idea what was going on in her mind? If you did, that's a weird girl, or you're just wrong and you think you're just an arrogant prick who thinks that you understand other people. Because again, human beings are the most complicated thing on the planet. You're the most complicated thing on the planet, so attempting to understand yourself is near impossible. Attempting to empathize with and communicate with and understand another human being who is like you but completely separate and you can't see their thought processes at all? Ha! Ha! No. No. She just feels inconsistent. Yeah, like every human being I've ever met. Like every single one I've ever met. So it feels like you just don't want to get it and don't want to see it or don't want to don't want to feel whatever the show is going to make you feel. You're looking for ways to separate yourself from the thing, and I understand that. Because, well, the thing is difficult. It's difficult to comprehend. And if it doesn't quite click with your life, then how would it click? But you're looking at the whole story as though it's a thing that's meant to be realistically true. True in reality, and that's not it. It's a story about ways of being, not a story about what is. We write textbooks about what is. We write myths about how you could be in relation to what is. And this is a myth, not a chronicle. So that's my answer. And that's the best answer you're going to get from me. And you've gone on to argue back and forth on you go arguing back and forth on the direct and material qualities of the show, and it's all useless. It's all totally worthless for you to do that, because that's not what we're watching. We're not watching a chronicle, we're watching a myth. And so all this speech about, but it doesn't make sense why this happened, it's like, well, no, not if you look at it from that perspective. But if you look at it from the perspective of, this is a compiled shadows on the wall ideal of a story of romance and existence in a chaotic world, everything in it makes perfect fucking sense. Perfect. And we can go through and we can point at any scene and I'll explain to you exactly what it means. Why does Lucy let him in? Because she wants somebody to be let in. Why does Lucy share her deep truth about the world? Her dreams that she's given up on? Because she hopes that somebody will revitalize them. Because she wants a male to come and awaken the sleeping feminine. She sees the potential for that in David. Because he's not corrupted yet. That's why he's going to die by the end. Sorry, I'm not spoiling anything. I don't know that. That's why he's going to die by the end, because he's going to be corrupted by the system. And he'll have to choose to die a hero or live long enough to see himself become a villain. This doesn't end well. I don't think. I could be wrong. And that's it. That's it for our comment spotlight. Okay, let me check and make sure I've got some disk space. Oh boy, I do not. Okay, now I do. I'm going to take a quick break, do a little syncy thing, and I will be back in a second, and we're going to actually watch Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 5 today. See you in a moment. All right, welcome back. We're ready to go for the actual episode itself. It's Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 5. I've got those good subs, and I see that the episode title is All Eyes with a Z on Me. I wonder if that All Eyes on Me has to do with the Fixer Boy that we met before, the guy played by Gus Fring. Just because, he's got so many eyes. Fuck, my fucking hair. Yeah. By the way, this is the V2 of my my headband. This one's steel. I've made a couple. So I had the copper one for years. I've been using the copper one that I made, and it's fantastic. That's this one. I've got it right here. Copper one. Same design. Identical design. It's as good as I can get. I made one. This is the easiest to make and the cheapest. It's aluminum, and so it's quite a bit bendier. And actually quite nice. And so I've got 3 metals now, and I've got a whole bunch more steel and aluminum wire, which I plan to utilize to make more of these and give them away to some people. I really like these as headbands. I really like them, and I really like the feel of them. I've also actually magnetized this piece of metal, and trying to determine whether it has any effects on my cognition. Don't think so far. Seems like it's been a wash, so whatever. But thought it might be interesting to just check it out. Just pop a... Where is it, actually? Where's my giant magnet? I've got this large neodymium rare earth magnet. This is a large ball magnet. And I just go, dink, doink, oh, and immediately it turns me into a monster. Oh! Just immediate seizures. Yeah, that's what we want. No, it seems to do nothing. But I have magnetized the piece of metal, so that's interesting. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know why I even brought it up. We're here to watch Cyberpunk episode 5. There's the new headband. It's very good. All eyes on me. On David? Maybe. Maybe this will be the turn into broader scope, into people paying attention to him for reasons. But it may also just be part of the flow of the thing. We've cemented the relationship between Lucy and David. What comes next? Complications? Or the honeymoon phase? I think it'll be the honeymoon phase, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Before we get into it, I want to mention something. Last week, during the Cyberpunk video, I made a decision. And it was not an ill-thought decision, nor was it a hasty or whimsical one. I made the decision to remove early access from my Patreon, which is to say, I made the decision to make all of my content truly and absolutely free for everyone. No paywall, no delay, just free. There's a danger to that, which is that without some sort of incentive to give me money, people won't give me money because, people are selfish. But there's an opportunity for it too. The opportunity is this. If my content strikes you as valuable, you have the power to say as much. In real meaningful ways, you have a real impact on my life and existence. So I ask this, if I've had $5 worth of impact on your life, please consider returning that value to me insofar as you can. Thank you. The Patreon is linked in the description, and I hope to find more benefits to give you in exchange for that. At the moment, all I can do is give you my life's work for free, and that's all I have to offer, and if I had more, I'd give it to you. But all I can do at the moment is to give you my life's work for free, for now and into the future, for forever, if I can. And so that's what I'm going to do. And if you appreciate it, please show it. Thank you. Let's watch some fucking Cyberpunk, shall we? Episode 5, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Beep Beep Timer. Just checking the subtrack. That's the correct one. Good. Ah. Pops and cracks. Yeah. I'm just gonna hold this for a sec. It's a 10-pound mace. You can look it up. I don't need to explain it. Down, 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 banana, down, 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 banana. Down, 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 oops, down, down, and down, 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 down. Fire control. I do have some leftover tea, so I'll drink that. Ah. Burn it down. Wow. We don't even know who that is yet. Daddy? Daddy Society? Is that you? Ah. Damn. Yeah, that's your hands, man. Yeah, they're the best cyber hands you could get. What? Big dick. Oh. He wants gun hands? Oh, it is. Oof. All right. Yeah, you've been getting it. Hey. Ow! Row! Oh, that's that person. Weird. Got him. You did. You're bad at that. Oh, my. bullshit. Faraday. Katsuo. No, it's not nothing. You know him. And they find out immediately. Yup. What's up? Well, shit. She was paying. Doesn't exist, man. So, no. Just going through people's personal drives. Yeah, what does he watch? Doubt it. Oh. Restraint and repression. Is that the same guy? Yeah. ER. All eyes on me. Says a fan. They're both looking at him. No, I don't like. Sure. Uh-huh. Yes. Oh, you can find him. Right. Right. Very cool. I love all the framing in this whole scene. It's been glorious. It's been really simple. We'll see what happens with the hands. A lot. Fucking blood. There you go. I don't know what that is, so. Of course. Sure. All right. You, buddy. Oh, damn, really? You're just gonna kidnap him? Fuck. That's crazy. Table for one? So this ain't gonna go the way that we expect. That's the dude? Chrome to the gills. Alright, here we go. So we're about to get in way over our heads in an interesting way, huh? Aw, main suit is so fucking sick. Oh, cool car. What's up, kid? What's it to ya? You're not Steve Aoki, are you? It's just Steve Aoki with gold face. No. Yeah. I'd like to leave. Oh! Yeah, you'd expect a real techie to have an EMP. That was an EMP. Oh, she's gonna die. Fried. So, one of the reasons you shouldn't have too much tech in you. Oh, jeez. Percussive maintenance, eh? Fascinating. Oh. Fuck. Okay, so he's whatever it's gonna. Okay, here we got a connection. It's flipped. Oh my god. Uh-huh, your boy is taken. Go save the princess, princess. So where are you going, Jimmy? Why'd he take him? Wow, right in the center of her forehead. Yep. Empy. Yep, she's mostly tech. You got less tech in you. Ah. Yeah. Harsh. Yeah, he's got my boy. Just a little. We get the most complex in her eyes that we've ever seen, and it's all fractal patterns. It's all Fibonacci's. That's so good. Oh shit. They're gonna snuff you, boy. That's what this is. You're the next BD to sell. Hi. You might want to look down at what you just stepped in. Wow. Human life is nothing, and you've been given a gun? Okay. This is something else. Oh shit, it's a framing. Is this real? Or is he in a BD? He's in a BD. Yeah, he's in a BD right now. This is the opening scene. This is testing. He's testing on him. Great scene of him running down. Wow. Okay, so this isn't real. You gotta wake up, man. Holy shit. Straight in his face. And he's not even in control of himself, really. Nani the fuck? Can he... what is it like to go Cyber Psycho? He's flip whipping out. Nani? He's gonna try not to kill him? Whoa. Whoa. What a trip, man. There we go. Infinite death. And rebuilding. Shattering. Broken apart. All guns. No soul left. Just weapons. The triangle. The end. And hello. You fucked with Jimmy. Now he's gonna test on you. Is that all this is? Yeah. Yeah. You don't like my gore crazy shit? Hmm. Who is voiced, by the way? He has seen the Edgerunner series. You are fully under this person's thumb, Saw style. This is bad. He makes them. Partly. Yeah. And you wish he'd done more? This guy's out of his gourd. Made him. Which just means that I can push you over the edge. Wow. You'll be a part of my game and my play. Even though he's a chrome fiend. You too. He's just like, fuck, I forget the guy in Princess Tutu. Over and over. Over and over. Until you're broken. Hi! Alright, we'll see. Okay. Oh, he's going. She's the one who has to pull him out. She's the one who has to pull him out. She's the only one who can. Whoa. All eyes. Yeah. They're already here. Shit, 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 shit. Yep, get out. Fuck. Auto fucking systems. God fucking damn it. God shit. What about zappy wrist things? Do those work? What about David? Can David just tackle them? Dink. Fuck. Asshole. What do you got? Hacking. Way too little. Way too slow. Way too slow. Let's go, David. All eyes on me. Zip pow. He's gonna overuse, though. Let's go, Lucy. Team. There you go. Oh, that's rad. That we've stopped doing the flow. And we're doing the swippy whippies. That's good. There we go. Ah, it's too much. Don't overload. Hi. Right in the nick of time. Good job, Lucy. Fuck this guy. Yeah, there we go. Alright, fine. Come on. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Kill me? Fuck. Yeah, she's just giving him the look like, ah. Damn right. Very up. But she's shocked. She's shaken. Zip. Okay, he's gonna be alone with David for a moment and he'll say something interesting now. Let's get to it, bud. And he's framed in red now. Oh, there's a smile. What are you gonna say? Red framing. So far, a very straightforward episode with not a lot of layers to read into. Indeed. The best of the best. What makes you so special, man? There is something. There is something about David that's different. See, that's so scary, though, because what if you're not? What if you're not? Yeah. You cut little pieces out. That one sitting out. I don't know why that one's sitting out. Is it empty? Oh, hi. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. Very good. So he's showing up to meet JK, and we're about to nab him. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, 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 doot. Oh, he's lying so well, and he's gone all green. Huh, Katsuo. Huh. Just give me what I want. Give me what I want. Boom! Sup? Yours. You know who the fuck I am? Yeah, come on, man. You think? You really? Oh, I see. I guess you're not that arrogant. Shit. I guess I'm fucked. Or not. Damn. Well, where did Katsuo get it? And so are we gonna lose Maine? It is you! Does he have a Sandy too, or something similar? Ooh! Uh-oh. What? Yeah, wow. He's gone. Whoa. It looks right at you. Oh. Auto when his heart stops. Shit, we gotta out now. Is dude dead? Did you punch him into the floor to death? Yeah. And that's an artist that you cared about to some extent. You just watched him die. You gotta get hard. There it is. So the hardening happens. Whoa. Very interesting episode to follow up the previous one. I don't know that there's that much to talk through because this episode is, I mean, it's gonna be weird, but like truly, there's not that much to talk through. This episode was like plot point, plot point, plot point, plot point, plot point. It just followed. It just followed. We'll go through it and we'll do the whole spiel, but I'm just posting that I'm recording. Up to the moon. Okay. Well, that was a hell of an episode. Again, I said this as we were heading into the outro. I don't actually think there's going to be that much to talk through specifically in this episode because it's very much a plot-driven episode as opposed to a character-driven one. Does that make sense? There are some definite things. So the refusal to take the hands is pretty interesting. He says it's out of my price range. He deflects. He says he's got his eyes set on something else. And I don't know what he's set on. But, well, he's set on mains because he's seen it in action, right? Like in Powerful before. No worries. They're all good. And he keeps saying, no, they're just techie. They're this, they're that. He wants mains. Which is interesting because we've seen mains fuck up twice now, right? We've seen that cybertech isn't as reliable as organic in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways. So we get this moment. All right, then I flatline. They're all yours. And that's foreshadowing. All right, fine. Hold you to it. And he goes, wait a sec. There's something different about you. You've been fucking. You've been getting some good. What the fuck? Hey, we get a very cute male teasing. This is the way that men tease each other around sex, and I think women do it too. But people tease themselves around it. And I have to skip through this because there's some nudity. I'm gonna give me a sec. She's got this whole like spider web thing going on her. It's crazy. All right, Sokka limo. Oh, you know the classmates. Find out a bunch of that stuff. Yeah, there's a nipple. I don't care. I'm not gonna cut it out. It's art, man. It's art. Kinkster, but more into gore than porn. Used to get BDs by JK, so we're clicking all these things together, right? Like, this is just exposition, clickety-clack. This is the necessary grounding and foundational work to produce the emotional highs that are going to be coming as we move further into the series and get closer to these more dangerous contexts, right? And we get this slow zoom out as David starts really, like, kind of excitedly talking about these brain dances, and both of them are looking at him like, so you like this shit, you're pretty fucked up. And he's like, no, I'm just normal, man, I'm just fucking normal. And they're like, for sure. And we figure out there's an opportunity there. His knowledge of other things leads to the truth. And there it is, glimmering on the table in front of him. All right, so we pop in, blood on a gurney. Where it's going. More exposition. This is the heist sequence play out, right? Expected, and into it we go, and we meet the man himself. Bingo dingo. And he reminds me immensely of it's from Space Adventure Cobra, and it's Crystal Boy. Crystal Boy is a boy made of crystal and gold and stuff who is a fuckboy, and he's a total asshole, and he's the main nemesis of Cobra. And he reminds me a lot of Jimmy Kurosaki, just because of the goldenness on his face and stuff. It's really interesting. I love how condescending he is towards cyberheads when he is one himself. And I have to go look up his voice actor because I feel like I know who it is, but I don't know who it is. I don't think it's Mercer, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. It's Kirk Thornton in English. Oh, he plays Askeladd, Emiya Kiritsugu, and Jin in Samurai Champloo, and Hiei in Yu Yu Hakusho, and Yujiro Hanma in Baki. So he's that boy when it comes to those things. Interesting. I didn't recognize him. I was wrong, and that's cool. Good to know. I like his design a lot. I think his car looks really cool. This whole play from David is really spectacular and very solid as a set of lies. And the whole like, I'm so sorry. And he puts his hand up just so gently, just like, no. But there's threat inherent in that because there's threat inherent in everyone. You know that when he's holding his hand up, he's pointing like 30 guns at you, right? Interesting. So I need to go, and his rear eye auto opens, dink, brrr, and he auto pam with the EMP, and is immediately putting stuff together. Steals David. Why he steals David and how he knows to do so because of the Sandevistan is unclear. We get shock from Lucy. We get, be a good boy and stay. We get Lucy, it's you and me, and she is pissed. Why? Her boy just got taken. They just connected. So we get to flip-flop the princess story, which is exactly right. And she is anchored in, right? Straight eye line, direct in, all the colors of her eye. All right, it hit pretty hard. Ring my bell too while I was out of range. You seem fine, I was out of range. I'm worried about David. You're pissed, aren't you? She's talking about killing the guy, right? We get this, and it's the closest we've ever been to Lucy's eyes, and it's spectacular. It's spectacular the way that the colorations of her eyes are built to form this mechano iris, and then the corner pieces of her like eyeshadow that she uses, it all forms this pattern that's really excellent, and I can't wait to see it used more for other purposes. But here, for determination and murderous intent, nailed it for Lucy. So we awaken, and we're in a horror land of pure death, and he's been framed for the murder. And now the cops come, and he finds himself in circumstances that are very much like the ones that he saw in the previous BD. His own demise. The scene of him running down these stairs is really excellent looking. The way that the light edges, especially on his pants look, make him really flow effectively, and I like it a lot. And he feels, in these scenes, he's so very small, even compared to when we've seen him walk through these locations before. These same locations, right? He's very small, very isolated. And this moment, the cop is right there, and without even seeing, without even knowing what he's doing, he's firing into the cop. And so we know that this isn't real, but he's watching a man's face as he kills him, something that David hasn't really had to do, not directly. And his own eyes are freaking out, and his own body is taking over, and he's becoming a murderer, and he can't stop it. And it's a foreshadowing of what will be. And we pull up, and he's looking behind himself, and there's shing! It's a light that's over his own head. And he's terrified of it. And he looks up, and it's his own arm. And he can't stop himself, and he swings down. And this scene, right here, that scene is in perfect blue. Precisely. So, unfortunately, I'm just grabbing this from a shitty YouTube video that's about the death count. But I just want to show you that this is the same scene, essentially. This is a different moment. This is the moment. The big rear up over the head, the image behind, the stab down, the hair, the splatter of blood onto the self and onto the face, and then onto the face again, and then showing the death, splatters onto the masks. It's the same scene. To some extent, it's not the same, right? I understand that it's not the same. But this moment, thing up above the head, I spilled tea all over myself. It's cold. Woo! Thing up above the head, big stab down, blood splatter. It's right on the money. It's the same sort of idea. And it paints him half in red and half in green. Half and half, and he opens himself, and it all, Trauma Tech gets here, he's getting blown to pieces, and every time he's destroyed, weaponry takes its place. Every time he's hurt, weaponry takes its place, and he grows out and expands into weaponry. It's very much like the first Henshin in Symphogear, where Hibiki is overwhelmed by the technology that is now a part of her. And that's exactly what the idea is that's happening to David. He's being overwhelmed by technology. As he keeps getting destroyed by the world around him, he keeps having to replace himself with more technology and more technology and more technology and more guns until he is more weapon than man. And looking down upon him is one of these trauma team people with the triple eyes itself, and he says, "You fucking monster, faceless monster," says this to you, and holds the triangular pistol over his head, and he's gone. And he awakens, and he finds himself in the lair of a psychopath, of a monster, a real monster. Somebody that he actually looked up to before. And he expresses essentially that he does this to people intentionally, turns them into cyber psychos to some extent. That all the military tech has a braindance scroller because all of them go off, and he goes and finds the way. The body language throughout this episode is one of the best things. I just want to point it out now. The way our characters frame their heads and their faces, and Jimmy, for example, with his head up and very cocky, we view that as a look down over you sort of a look. It's different from standing tall and looking down at you. That's very different. This is, I'm better than you, and I don't care about showing my exposed throat because you can't hurt me, bitch. That's what that says. You'll see young men walking around like that at the gym. They'll be walking around like this. Fucking idiots. You can just tell. You can just tell that somebody's a fucking idiot if they walk around like that, because it's really inviting somebody to punch you in the throat. I don't mean that you should go up to people like that and punch them in the throat, obviously, but it's really inviting conflict. It's saying like, huh, huh, huh. It's like walking around with a constant, come at me, bro, as your attitude. Somebody's going to come at you. But this guy's confident. You know who owned your Sandevistan? And he's invading his space. So his presence in this episode, do Raskolnikov? No, that's Raskolnikov. Princess Tutu Old Man. Drosselmeyer. So Jimmy Kurosaki is an artist creator of reality, a shaper of reality, and he takes the same role as Drosselmeyer in Princess Tutu, where he's able to jump around and completely manipulate the world that David lives in or exists in as he goes, and completely overwhelm him. All in all, he mowed down 27, but the way that he speaks, he's like, but they finally ended his spree. What a shame. It's not often you can find someone who could go toe-to-toe. One of the best I've seen. And he keeps growing and keeps overcoming, and his eye is zooming into everything, and he's seeing it all, right? I have great expectations for you, which is to say, I'm going to turn you into one just like him. And you haven't even snapped yet. How wonderful. How wonderful. Don't worry. It'll drive you mad eventually, and I will capture it. And he says, no, not me. No way. And he says, all Chrome Fiends hold on to that belief. You're no different. And he's a Chrome Fiend too, right? They know they're sane until they're not. And David might go insane eventually. He thinks he's really different. I don't know. Another couple of tangos with Max Tack and your brain will pop like a party balloon. So I'm going to put you into the pressure myself. No, please don't show me. Please don't do that again. No. Yes. And the interruption. Oh, interesting. The gunfire. Oh, okay. And then we just move through. He's stuck. She's working hard. She pops him out. She is genuinely, like, we talked about her eyes being important in previous episodes and whether she's looking. She's right locked in on David and focused on him because he is what matters to her in the world right now. And that's scary because in the future she might do stupid things in order to get to him, right? And to save him. So, assistance. It's like, we're going to fucking kill you douche canoe. And then drones show up, and that's bad. So we deal with the actual physical problem, and it is through working together, self-sacrifice in going where he's going. And then in the moment where he pushes himself to the limit, he's held them off long enough that she becomes capable of going ahead and finishing the job as well. So they save each other. Nah, but you have questions for me. And we get this look. This look I love from Lucy. It's spectacular. It's, I don't want to fucking deal with you, but I have to, I guess. Just watching you. Love it. And he starts going flattery, and it doesn't work, and he's an asshole. And we show up in this room, and the lighting is spectacular. And we leave the two of them alone so we can talk. We paint David in the colors that are the same colors as when he was in chaos and asking for a way before. It's really the seriousness. I didn't have much of a choice. Oh, so you've relived that, and yet you still installed it. I'm never going to end up losing it. And he goes, my guy, he was the best of the best, and you think you're special? He lived and breathed cyberware. Why would you think you're any different? And David says, I don't know, it just feels right. Well, what if it always feels right? Maybe I'm different, he says. He literally says, maybe I'm just built different. It's like it's always been a part of me. And maybe it has. I don't know. It's connected to him through his mom. I'm built different. I just know it. What if it always feels that way? Because every drug addict feels exactly like that. It's like, I'm built different. I can handle this. You ask somebody if they're addicted to cigarettes, they'll go, no, man, I can quit whenever I want. And everybody around them goes, sure. So we've heard it before, So then there's 32. Click, and he doesn't click it all the way back in. We get this framing, the smile, and the look, and the open slots. It's not meant to be. It tears open your soul, and we come in and we hone in on 32, the next one. And next is It's Alive Not. It always ends up one of two ways. And we got the same framing, red light, blue background. It's the same framing as when David came in and was like, put this shit inside of me. This is a turning point. You lose yourself forever or you die. No in between. So they're going to choose die for David, I think. Your boy shows up. The trap is set. Do you have any idea who I am? He tries to make the call and it fails. We've already jammed you. Yes, we know who you are. He puts his hands up and they, of course, are weapons. Refuses to go down easily. And makes a hell of an attack against Maine. Also, Maine's gun arm jams again. right? Which is pretty interesting that maybe the cyber stuff isn't the way to go. Maybe David doesn't need that. But having gone a couple of times today already, he blasts in, knocks this guy's head deep into the floor, catches a needle in the center of the neck, and in his last moments, his eyes turn toward David, and as if he's saying, yeah, I'm going out, but you're next. He forms a malicious grin, and it takes David aback for a moment. And all he can do is stare as he watches the life leave the body of somebody he respected once. And he tears himself away and wipes it from his eyes by closing them slowly. We zoom slowly out from there in the uncaring city, where an uncaring man is killed by another uncaring man because a bunch of uncaring cyberpunks decided to make a play. I don't think there's a lot of depth to this episode yet. I think there's a lot of setup in this episode for the future. The little smile from Jimmy, the knowingness, that'll haunt David. It'll guide him, oddly. These conversations will matter as we move forward. They'll be built into his struggle. I see a future where David has to choose between going cyber psycho and ending himself, and that he'll choose self-sacrifice to die a hero. Maybe for Lucy. Something like that. But we'll see, as we move along further into Cyberpunk Edgerunners, what exactly it is that the showrunners have in store for us. All in all, I think this episode was very fun. It wasn't what I expected at all. It's not like the last one, where episode 4 is just a mind-blowing exploration of human connection. This one is like almost bringing us back down to earth and being like, hey, by the way, this romance thing is not the plot. That's just the part of it. The plot still has to happen. Here's some setup. So we get closer to the corpos, and we get closer to a couple of corpses. Sorry. We find out a little bit more about the world. We get a little bit of a warning for David. The kind of warning that he doesn't want to hear. But maybe it'll have an impact as he grows into who he's becoming. Okay. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that I get the chance to get this edited and up to you soon. I'm not going to be able to today because, as I can tell, I just heard people arrive. So I'm going to get going because I still need to grab a shower and stuff. So I'm going to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next week for more Cyberpunk. Peace, y'all. And support the channel on Patreon and leave comments because I'll read them. No matter what they are, I will read them. Peace, y'all. Love y'all. And I believe in you. See you next week. Peace.